Good morning, everybody. And it's a beautiful Friday morning, the 17th of July. And we affectionately refer to this morning show as Breakfast with Roger and Friends. That includes Dr. Gene Sidler. Good morning to you, Gene.
Yes, good morning.
And also Teri Chamberlain. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning.
You were talking about bugs or flies on the way in this morning from East Peoria, Gene?
Yes. As I approached the Murray Baker Bridge, there was a flock of bugs that left a few behind on my windshield.
Really?
I think they were the mayflies that come out about now.
No, I'll tell you what it is. There's a great deal of unrest in Marshall County at Mike Dentino's bee farm, and they quit.
They weren't bees.
They weren't bees?
No,
okay.
no. I sent those back to Mike.
You did, yeah. They were lost in the wind and the heat and so forth. I didn't have that experience, so that must have been
It must have been just crossing the highway when I got there.
I can tell you that there was a truck doing 80 miles an hour on I-74. I mean, he was flying, and just ahead of him was a pickup truck that was doing a little bit faster than that. And after the pickup truck got past me, and he got, I'd say a half a mile ahead, I noted he jumped back out of the passing lane. And I said, he must be going to jump off at East Peoria. Well, he had a good reason, because there was a radar car or a state police car, and I assume they all have radar in them, sitting there. And so they had an opportunity, if the trooper wanted to catch three people. The guy in the pickup truck, who was doing probably between 80 and 85, because he passed the semi, could have gotten him, could have got the truck driver, and could have gotten Roger.
Was that on that long decline coming down into Peoria? Because
did you see him?
No, I don't come that way. But I frequently have seen officers parked kind of perpendicular in the center there, where there's a fairly good amount of room between the two lanes.
That's a favorite place for them to be. But you know who's writing most of the tickets now? Are these gals on motorcycles, or as Jonathan Winters called, motorcycles. And they were busy yesterday, or she was busy. I don't think there were two of them, but they have two female troopers on motorcycles now.
I have seen one female on a motorcycle with somebody pulled over, but that's it.
And every time I've seen them, they were writing tickets, because I-74 is a speedway.
Well, it's 55 through there.
I know.
People just totally ignore it.
Yeah.
And even, especially the hillside, going up to Pinecrest and that's 55 now. And,
yes.
And people just bloop. So when you do slow down, you get the dirty looks. If people
Oh,
are roaring around
absolutely. What's
you,
the matter with
like,
you anyway, you clown?
Yeah.
I have a passenger who lets me know, this is a 55 mile an hour zone. I said, well, it's always been 70, and she said, it isn't that anymore,
No, it
Roger.
isn't. A couple months ago they changed it.
Yeah.
Where does the 55 start?
It starts kind of all the way through.
Going
But I mean, is
east.
it before you come to the curve that comes down in?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's just after you get past that little, what would you call, a business mall on the right-hand side as you're going west.
Okay, so just past the 474.
Yeah.
A little bit further than
it's a little bit before Pinecrest.
Yeah, before Pinecrest. Okay.
And San used to be 70 up to.
Well, you're going eastbound.
No, I'm talking about as you're coming from Morton.
Yeah,
first
westbound.
of all. Westbound.
Okay.
And it used to be 70 up to there. And then it dropped 55. Remember going down the hill, you'd see that sign. 55.
Right.
Well, no, they changed it now.
It starts just before you go down the hill.
Just before the Ray LaHood Memorial Highway. Big sign there honoring Ray.
Officer friendly. Exactly. But nobody pays any attention
Nope, they don't.
to it. It's hard to break old habits. If you're used to flying 70 miles an hour, and then these people come along from IDOT, or somebody said yesterday, idiot, and I'm trying to be funny. I wouldn't call them. They're hardworking people. But at any rate, I don't know when they put the signs up. It must have been the dark of the night or something. because all of a sudden,
You were standing there waiting for it? or something?
yeah, I was waiting. Are you going to put those signs up or not? For crying out loud.
Well, it also is, maybe it's not unfair, but it also, you would expect to catch more people if you get them on that downward hill coming down into the
Well,
valley.
I'm sure they do.
Because you even if you're slowing down, you would tend to do it by just backing off
Well,
the
yeah,
accelerator.
you don't slam on your brakes to
Yeah.
hit.
And you're not going to slow down when you're coming downhill. You're going to probably even pick up speed because that's a steep enough hill. You're going to probably pick up.
You know, you're right. You make a good point. There should be a sign.
Yes.
They do have signs, speed limit ahead,
Yes.
or reduced speed, changes.
They do, but again, people ignore it because it starts back at Pinecrest. And now, when you're eastbound, remember, you used to get past the downtown area, and as you were heading up the hill before
Yes.
Pinecrest, then it changed to
Every-
70.
everybody-
But it doesn't now.
Yeah.
You got to go all the way.
If their real
past.
goal was to slow people down and not write tickets, they would post something saying traffic ahead is speed
Reduced
monitored
speed
or
ahead,
something
yeah.
like that. So you would be warned that you could be measured while you're hitting that section that's the lower speed limit. But
If Illinois wanted to increase their revenue, all they need to do is increase the number of troopers and patrol 74 and 155. 155 has become a speedway. 80 is the normal speed once you get off of 74 and you're southbound on 155.
yeah, but you don't see that many people pulled over on
No, you don't.
155 like
No.
you might see on
74,
74.
yeah. No question about it. Well, we have lots of things to talk about this morning. The President of the United States addressed the nation last night, but you wouldn't know it if you were watching local news this morning on television. But we'll report on it, as do some of the cable channels. And we have some other interesting stories to report, so stay tuned for the most exclusive, comprehensive news reporting. But it does. And at any rate, let's get into the check of the weather. And that will be no surprise. And brought to you by Kyle Varnold. Is he on vacation?
Yes.
Up in Wisconsin?
Michigan.
Is that?
Michigan,
Yeah.
Saugatuck.
Anyway, nonetheless, though, he's on vacation. We are not. And Kyle provides personal and business insurance for auto, home, life, and health. You know, he works with a number of different companies to get the best price and the best policy for individuals, families, and businesses as well. And you can reach Kyle, even though he's on vacation, at 309-682-0519. He's never on vacation when it comes to business. Here's today's live weather forecast. Partly sunny, and look for afternoon showers and thunderstorms to develop. We're going to get up to 91 with a heat index of 101. So the hot weather continues in central Illinois. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low of 74 and a 30% chance for showers tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and hot, a chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms and a high of 93. Heat index tomorrow, 103. Sunday, sunny and 87. And currently our temperature at 76 degrees. I don't know about Eugene, but my grass needs cutting, but I hate to cut it because it's so hot, and it looks beautiful, high, but if I cut it, I know it's going to turn brown or close to it. So
Yeah,
does the
okay,
guy
if
come
you
and cut
cut
your
it-
grass? You tell him to raise...
Well, yeah, he comes every week and he does a good job. But they say if you cut in the really hot phase, it, of course, leaves a lot of cut leaves.
Yes, right,
and then
yeah.
that dries the grass out faster and
Interesting.
do more damage and make it turn brown in spots. But I don't know. We've had enough rain. It seems like I haven't got any brown spots
None at
so
all.
far.
Well, good for you. 76 now. Let's get into the news this morning, and it's brought to you as a service of our friends at Morton Community Banks. They have over 50 branches now offering a full range of personal and business banking services. Hometown banks, FDIC insured, so your deposits are safe. Look for the clock tower, and you'll know they have time for you. And Terry has our lead story.
Former Peoria and Creve Coeur police officer Caitlin Gherkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, last March 10th. The 28-year-old Gherkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Creve Coeur. She'll appear in court for arraignment August 6th.
Here's one for the books and an exclusive report on this one. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested after she stole an ambulance at Carl's Methodist Hospital. The vehicle was parked at the hospital's emergency area when Crystal Crane, that's a great name, you know. Now here's the weather with Crystal Crane when she decided to take the ambulance for a spin. And she drove away from the hospital ER parking lot. A police drone, was used to spot it. It was parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street on the city's near north side. She took off again, but hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court near where the once popular Ramada Inn was located. She was cuffed and taken to the county jail charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. And I did some checking. It was not an AMT wagon, but it belonged to Illini Ambulance of East Peoria, and I have never heard of them, but my understanding it has been purchased by AMT.
Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer/user off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavera Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia along with guns and cash in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and health of a child.
In other news, turning to national news, and this is an interesting story, the Blue Angels kicked off the Red, White, and Blue Air Show in Pensacola. I know you go down to Florida. Have you ever been to Pensacola and watched the air show? Watch the Blue Angels practice. They do it, I think, twice a week. You've never been there?
Well, I've been to Pensacola. I have not watched.
Well, keep that in mind the next time you go. You sit in bleachers. I've been there a number of times when we used to vacation at Gulf Shores, Alabama. And you can sit on bleachers that are almost on the runway. It's really exciting. So seeing jets, not necessarily Blue Angels, but because it is a big naval base, as you know, air base, they fly all the time. Well, apparently yesterday or the day before, they had a dramatic low flyover in the popular Florida beach area to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. And I say that because I saw a video of it, and the sunbathers and the people on the beach, they were waving, yelling, and giving high fives when the jet flew over. However, I heard on WLS News from ABC, they found somebody who was just disgruntled over it. It was very frightening, he said. Oh, poor guy. The Blue Angels, as I say, stationed at the naval base in Pensacola, a great attraction for tourists. Some people complain, but Navy officials said there will be no reprimands or firings, nor should they be. And the Secretary of Navy said that is the sound of freedom. And I love it. And we're going to talk at 6:30 with a guy who came within one pilot of becoming a Blue Angel, and that's Peoria's former manual graduate, Dick Crane, at 6:30. And we'll talk to him about flyovers and whether or not he did a little of that. In other news,
President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night providing an analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country.
To support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security says they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, and no surprising, 191,000 of them lived in what state? California. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The report answers, says the White House, media's claim Trump has failed to produce any evidence of illegal voting or registering.
The Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th district. He has about as good a chance of winning as a snowstorm in Jacksonville today.
Close to, here's another exclusive on our newscast, close to 1,000 Ameren customers in Morton were without power yesterday. The power outage lasted for over an hour from around 5 p.m. to about 6:20. No explanation from Ameren about the cause of the power interruption. And that was unfortunate, and I know because I was one of those that lost power. And of course it knocks your computer off and your electric alarm clocks and also the resident of the house.
And the air conditioner.
And yeah, important. You know, and I sat there and I thought, now, what am I going to do? So you give it a time frame. How much time would you give it before you start getting panicky?
Well, there was a outage not too long ago, a few months ago, and it lasted about 12 hours where we were. And yeah, that's about where I start to think everything in my freezer and refrigerator is going to have to be thrown out if I don't. But then it came back on. I actually was down at Harbor Freight looking at those generators, but they were all sold out because East Peoria people who were affected probably rushed down there and bought them all.
I do have a smaller generator. I did look into the big one, the Generac. That's not a small investment. That's
talking about
$1,000.
the standby one, the one that's put outside your house.
Yes, right,
permanently.
yeah.
Yeah, those are very expensive.
Very
And
expensive.
the installation costs are expensive too, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done, I have the smaller version that you can use to maybe plug
Portable
in
one,
your,
yeah.
But that big sucker is has a nice price tag on him. Anyway, those are some of the stories we're following. Let's turn to WCBU for their news. Good
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. A decision by the Peoria City Council on establishing a funding plan for repairs on the Twin Towers condominiums is targeted for late September. City Attorney Patrick Hayes says state law requires a 60-day wait to approve a special service area designation following this week's public hearing on the matter.
We'll also, in the interim, finish our discussions with local banks to see whether or not a financing mechanism other than a bond issue might be more attractive.
Tower residents have asked the city to create the special service area to generate the $2.5 million needed for the repairs. Tazewell County is putting together an ordinance that will spell out the rules and regulations for data centers built on county property. The ordinance isn't expected to go to the county board for at least 2 months, but the board's land use committee got an earful this week about a neighboring county's proposed data center ordinance. Mackinac resident Alan Green is Logan County's zoning officer. He said a 1-year data center moratorium the Logan County board passed was later ruled illegal by the county's state's attorney. In the first days of a week-long trial testing a remote piloted drone, Peoria police have used the technology to apprehend a suspect accused of stealing an ambulance. Officers responded to the 200 block of Northeast Glen Oak based on a report of a stolen ambulance being driven recklessly. Police say they deployed a department first response drone to locate the ambulance parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street. After the driver fled at a high speed, they were later taken into custody. Democratic Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was only nominated for the role to benefit President Donald Trump. Blanche is Trump's former personal lawyer. He testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is weighing whether to confirm him as the nation's top law enforcement official. Blanche faced questions from Durbin and others about the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein files, among other things.
In a time in history when we are witnessing the most corrupt presidency in the history of the United States, we need an attorney general who will stand up for what is right, stand up for honesty.
Durbin says Blanche is, quote, not loyal to the truth. I'm Ben Howell.
Let's get into the world of sports, brought to you by BradleyBank.com. Back to Gene Sidler. Hey, baseball returns to action today and tonight, I assume.
There was one game yesterday, so for the baseball fans that are having withdrawal effects, it will soon be over. The one baseball game yesterday, the New York Mets beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1. Maybe the Mets will be a little bit better. They announced yesterday that their entire team is available at the trade deadline, except for, I think they listed 4 players that they would not be interested in a trade for. One of them was Juan Soto, the $51 million a year guy. And he's having a pretty good year this year after he really didn't do well last year for him. They've been a great disappointment, considering they're the highest payroll team in the major leagues, $350 million payroll, and they're mired, way under 500, and I think in last place in the division. So anyway, they won yesterday, beat the Phillies 4-1. The rest of the teams all resume play today. Chicago Cubs will host the Minnesota Twins. The St. Louis Cardinals are in Arizona to play the Diamondbacks, and the Chicago White Sox are in Toronto to play the Blue Jays. The Peoria Chiefs also resume play tonight in South Bend against the South Bend Cubs. World Cup news, Argentina, of course, won their game against England on Wednesday, 2-1. They will face Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday. The final is in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, 2 p.m. Central Time Sunday on the Fox Network. Temperatures predicted to be in the low to mid 80s with a 40 to 60% chance of rain on Sunday. So we'll see how that might affect the match. There is a third place World Cup match on Saturday between the 2 losers of the semifinal matches. That'll be France and England, 4 p.m. in Miami on Saturday. Golf, the British Open this morning has teed off for the second round at Royal Brookdale Golf Club in England. The first round leader was 26-year-old American Jackson Suber. Most people might not have heard of him. Yeah, he joined the PGA Tour a year ago. Hasn't recorded any wins yet, but very good golfer. The top favorite, Scottie Scheffler, was 2 strokes back. He was 2 under, 3 strokes back from Suber at the end of the first round, but he's making a little bit of a move here this morning already in the early part of this second round. And Rory McIlroy had a rather poor round yesterday. He was at 3 over, 8 strokes behind the leader. Those are the 2 favorites. And the only other real big sports news going on this week is the continuation of the Tour de France. It's in the stage 13 of the 21 stages today. Overall leader after 12 stages is still the race favorite Tadej Pogačar of Slovenia. He still has a 3-minute, 36-second lead over second place Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark, going for his 5th Tour victory that would tie him with 4 other past riders at 5 wins. And I think it's pretty sure, barring an injury or some kind of catastrophe, accident or some sort, that he's going to do it. The tour continues through 21 stages and will end on Sunday, July 26th on the Champs-Élysées.
Is anyone carrying it on television?
Yes, it's on.
I haven't seen it
It's
yet.
on Peacock, but that's the
but
subscription
you gotta pay.
site.
You have to pay for that.
But many of the stages are on the NBC Sports channel.
Is that
you got to look for that
Sport?
one? Yeah, it's up on Xfinity. It's up
920.
around 1,200 or 1,100 or something like
Okay.
that. So it's in the high numbers.
I wouldn't mind watching it every now and then, just for the scenic views that
Yes,
these
and they are
cyclists
very
have.
scenic, especially now they get into the mountain phases. The next 6-7 phases, I think, are all mountain phases, and yeah, they're very scenic down in the Alps regions right now.
Yeah. Well, watching that, does that make you want to go out in the garage and get your bicycle with flat tires pumped up and go for a ride on your cycle? No?
No.
Okay. I actually miss riding a bicycle. I used to enjoy that. You could go wherever you wanted to go and see whatever you wanted to see. There was just something really neat about it. There's a husband and wife that I see periodically come into our subdivision. I don't know where they live. But the other day they were taking a break, and I could well understand, you know, and they're elderly. And they have all the necessary equipment. They have the helmets, and I think they even have gloves and the whole ball of wax and so forth. And I thought, you know, honey, lady, and gentlemen, we have a heat index of probably around 100, 101. And with due respect, and obviously they're in better shape than I am, so Why am I being critical of them? But I was concerned they had their water bottles attached to their cycle, so
It is
they were
interesting.
watching out for
Yeah,
themselves.
it is interesting how people get into various sports activities, cycling one of them, but, golf is another one, and tennis and so forth, where people think it'll help them play better to buy all these really expensive pieces of equipment. Though these people that just bike for the fun of it go out and buy a $1,000 bike when they could
Yes.
get by with something, a little less. But it's really interesting. When I used to play a little bit of golf with my son, to see people on the golf course, they would have these high-tech engineered clubs that cost thousands of dollars, and I don't think it's saving them a single stroke because they're such bad players. But it is funny and of course the sports equipment manufacturers love
They
that.
love it,
love
for
to
all the
promote-
accessories.
You see the
yeah.
ads for these balls that fly, 6 inches farther than the competitors,
Yeah,
so you got to buy
exactly,
our
yeah.
ball.
You
But
still
yeah,
have to hit it right.
You still have to hit it right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. No, and speaking of golf, I used to follow the old saying, if you can't be a golfer, at least dress like one. And so you wanted to make sure you had the right kind of pants. Like the other day, not the other day, a couple of weeks ago, in Walmart of all places, I bought a pair of Ben Hogan slacks. And they are the best fitting pair of slacks I have ever purchased, and they were on sale at $19.98. That's like buying it from China, and they may be from China
They
for
might
that
be
matter.
made in China.
And I love it, and they fit just right. So I thought, now all I need to do is find a good golf shirt. And then it dawned on me, I sold my golf clubs, or actually my son did, at a garage sale, so it wouldn't do any good to dress like a golfer.
I took mine down to Goodwill about a month ago. I bet my wife's been on me to get rid of those. You haven't played golf in 20 years.
And so you
I
did.
did. I got rid of them, but no, I have no interest in playing golf now.
And apparently neither does anyone else, because if you drive by a miniature golf place, there's nobody there. I drove by. There's one over in East Peoria. I mentioned this near where McDonald's is, and there's a KC and I think an old Sonic or something is closed. But across the road, and I think it's a Farmdale Road or something. Is that what? Is that what
So I
they?
take my granddaughters there frequently.
Yeah.
That's a nice.
Well, they had two people there.
Well, it's 90 degrees out.
Yeah,
Maybe that
you're
had
right,
something to
you're
do with
right.
it. We've been there when it's been
And it's a
busy.
nice little miniature course.
Yes, it is. And then the putt club, and that looks like it's not real busy when it's real hot outside because they have an indoor.
Indoor. And on
course.
weekends, it's packed. It's unbelievable. when
I
I've
am
driven
surprised
by
how
there.
many cars are in that lot. Yes, I agree.
So, and
They've got a restaurant and a very nice
The whole
restaurant.
ball of
in
wax there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a nice place. Yeah.
Well, I'm told the new multi-$1,000 learning center, golf learning center on Kellogg, by the Kellogg Golf Course, what is it, Radnor Road? Is that what it is? I'm told that it is a huge success. They have simulators there and so forth. I don't know if that's true, but I've driven by golf courses, and due to the weather, that are as empty as the shelves at Christmas time at Macy's. It is, people just are not going out on the golf courses, and understandable. I drove by Newman the other day, and there was one guy playing by himself on the 9th hole. That is where you come around and then start on the back nine for that matter. And I don't blame him. But most golfers who love the sport, they will go out and play golf. I think Ray LaHood the other day, when he was in, said that he was going to play golf that day because it was too hot. Well, it's not too hot for an update of the news that we could provide at the bottom of the hour. A reminder, following our news and weather, we'll talk to former United States Navy combat pilot Dick Crane, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's check out, first of all, the weather, brought to you by Matt Wall, CPA and tax specialist with Gordon Stockman and Wall. He's available to work on your taxes or your financial challenges at 309-692-4030. That's Matt Wall with Gordon Stockman Wall. The phone number again, 309-692-4030. And here's your live weather forecast. Partly sunny with a high of 91 today. Heat index of 101. There is a chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. And ditto for tonight, partly cloudy, chance for rain, a low of 74. That's tonight. Tomorrow, sunny and another hot one, a chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. 93 the high tomorrow. That's Saturday with a heat index of 103. What's been the highest heat index? I think, was it 105 last week?
Oh, I don't remember it getting that high, but it might have been.
I remember hearing 105.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometime. I don't know. Can you tell the difference between a heat index of 103 and 105?
No, it's just hot.
Yeah. Sunday sunny and not so bad, 87 degrees, and currently our temperature at 76. Now we have the news brought to you by Steve Sink, certified business specialist with PHX affiliates. Steve, you know, has been around helping people buy and sell their business for over 20 years, and he also specializes in helping determine valuations of your business. You can reach Steve at 309-696-8508. Terry, what do you have?
Former Peoria and Creve Coeur police officer Caitlin Gherkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, last March 10th. The 28-year-old Gherkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Creve Coeur. She'll appear in court for arraignment August 6th. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested after she stole an ambulance at Carl's Methodist Hospital. The vehicle was parked at the hospital's emergency area when Crystal Crane decided to take it for a spin. A drone was used to spot it parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street on the city's near north side. She took off again, but hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court, near where the once popular Ramada Inn was located. She was cuffed and taken to the county jail, charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer user off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavera Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia along with guns and cash in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and health of a child. The Blue Angels kicked off the Red, White, and Blue Air Show in Pensacola with a dramatic low flyover the popular Florida beach to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. The Blue Angels are stationed at the naval base in Pensacola and are a great attraction for tourists. Some people complained, however. Navy officials said there will be no reprimands or firings, nor should there be. And we've got Dick Crane, former Navy pilot, to talk on, give us some inside stuff, yes. President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night, providing analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country. To support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security says they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, 191,000 of them in California. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th district. And those are the headlines, Roger.
Thank you. As always, Terry Chamberlain, as you mentioned, Dick Crane, graduate of Manual High School and Bradley University, is on the line from Jacksonville, Illinois. Good morning, Dick Crane.
Hey, good morning, Roger, and good morning to Terry and everybody else that's there.
Good morning,
nice
Dick.
to be with you.
I've got a couple of things I wanted to pick your brain at, but it just occurred to me, we have a story about this guy who lives in Jacksonville, and you may know who I'm referring to. He's a Republican write-in candidate for the 5th district, and he's called for the death of President Trump. Is that big news in Jacksonville, or do you even know about it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I just get my news from Teri when she's doing it, so that's the first thing I had heard about it.
That's a winner.
Thank you, Dick.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I don't understand that. It's demonic. That's all I can say. Anybody that would do that, I can't understand how one human being can even think of that in their mind, let alone say it. And I can't even step on a bug. I pick them up and throw them outside, I don't understand that at all, how anybody could do that. So I'm kind of glad I didn't hear about it, because I don't like hearing anything that would do that to any human being,
Let alone the President of the United States. Well, let's talk about what I do know you know about. Dick, we used to vacation at Gulf Shores, Alabama, and on occasion go over to the naval station and base in Pensacola and watch the Blue Angels train and practice and so forth. And I remember fishing early one morning when I don't think it was a Blue Angel, it was just one of the fighter jets based at the Navy base flyover. And what a thrill it was to watch. And I saw the video of people cheering when the Blue Angels flew over the crowd of people. And then there was somebody who complained about it and so forth. Well, you've flown many, many times. I'm going to guess that you flew low on more than one occasion.
Well, yeah, pretty much everyone has, depending on what our mission was. And I saw that video, and I thought it was funny that the press puts out that, people were, running for cover, and the tents were blowing, and whatever. And when they show the video, it's like everybody's cheering and happy,
Yes. Yeah, they were high-fiving each other.
That's pretty much synonymous with what's going on in our politics, what it comes down to, I think, is that some people, unfortunately for them, just want to see the bad in everything. They're unhappy, no matter who it is. Trump's gone, they're going to hate the next guy. They're going to hate the next guy. They probably are unhappy at the store. They're the ones arguing with everybody. They're unhappy at church. They're unhappy everywhere they go. And I guess church wouldn't be a good one because they probably don't go, but,
Yeah.
I just think that it's a spirit of just unhappiness and anger, and that's in my opinion, it's just not healthy. But yeah, they're going to complain about everything. And I saw the video. Yeah, the guy was probably a little low. There's a fine line there.
Yeah.
But then again, you can only tie the record for flying the lowest. You can't break it. So,
yeah, that's well said. Were you ever based at Pensacola? Did you ever fly in or fly out of Pensacola?
Flew in and out of there many times. I was not based there as a naval aviator. I was, I stopped there a lot. We'd go on cross countries for training, and there are different places that you go, and it was better training environment, and Pensacola being that. And then, they call it the cradle of naval aviation, which it is. I did go through aviation officer candidate school there back in 1983. So my memories of Pensacola after that were not the fondest memories, but, once I started flying in and out of there and seeing what it was really like, it was a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, and you know what? They have a great museum, I guess that's what they call it, that you can tour with different types of aircraft on display. It's a magnificent place and certainly the number one tourist attraction for people in that area. Been over there on more than one occasion, and I just admire the pilots. And they actually had bleachers set up, so if you wanted to watch the Blue Angels in practice and exercise and so forth, you're almost on the runway. It's really a neat place to go. If you go down to Florida, put it on your agenda of things to do to visit what's the official name for it? Just Pensacola Naval Station?
Well, it is Naval Air Station, Pensacola Naval Air Station. It's on that. Well, it's actually just outside the back gate. so you don't have to have a pass to get on base to go see it. And it replicates really a lot of different areas of naval aviation, and one of them is the QB Point Officers Club, which is in the Philippines, was before we pulled out of there, but that's a place we all spend a lot of time at because we were over there in 1987, 88, and every squadron would put up a plaque with the commanding officer, executive officer, and the department heads and all of the junior officers. And our plaque is up on the wall in that
Terrific.
Naval Aviation Museum. So, yeah, so we got a little piece of history in there, too, which is kind of nice to see.
Dick, I know you're following what's going on in Iran, particularly with the airstrikes, and I thought I'd ask you, I'm sure some of the airstrikes are being conducted by planes off of the different aircraft carriers and so forth. Can you kind of give us an idea of the kind of armament that some of these planes are carrying? And when we were talking about it yesterday, and I asked you what kind of planes, you said just about everything under the sky or in the sky are flying missions that probably, counting what the Israelis are doing, probably close to, if not more than 1,000 strikes.
Oh yeah, they're stepping it up. And this is the thing. I love, as you know, I'm a big Trump supporter. I love him. I think he is a brilliant guy. He didn't become a billionaire being a dummy like some people would try to make you believe. And he was a billionaire when he came into office, so he at least earned his before he got in there, not while he was in there. But the airplanes flying, they have several air wings over there. And all of them have different missions. Some have attack missions, some have fighter missions, although the fighter mission is not as prevalent right now because we have air superiority. But President Trump gave them every opportunity to behave like civilized human beings. And they chose not to. And, what was it Israel said? If we have nuclear weapons, there's peace. If Iran has nuclear weapons, there's war. And that couldn't be more true. And President Trump gave them every opportunity to make a deal as any normal human being would. And they proved they're not normal. And, I told you, Roger, I said a couple of months ago, he should just go in there and destroy all of that enriched uranium. Don't worry about saving it. Just get rid of it. Probably be the best thing that ever happened to Hillary Clinton because there wouldn't be any evidence that she had anything to do with it. But, yeah, and just annihilate it. And then throw the keys on the coffee table and say, thank you, have a nice day, and we're out.
Yeah.
But he gave him a chance. And now I think it's kind of going the other way. But, yeah, we have a lot of very advanced targeting systems, weapons, you name it, we have it. Not that they have any kind of, special weapons over there, but, they have a lot of assets that can do a lot of damage. And then, you have the B-2s that can drop the big bunker buster bombs that basically penetrate before they explode. I think they call it the mother of all bombs or something like that. What is that? Moab. That's what they call it. So
F-18.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the B-2s, those are really big and heavy. I don't think the F-18 could carry those, but you have assets in the Air Force that can carry those. A B-2 being one that specifically was designed for that, I believe.
Yeah, you flew the F-18s. What kind of did you carry? Missiles, bombs? What did you carry on the F-18?
We carried both. Because they call the F-18 strike fighter, meaning you can fly strike missions, which are bombing or targeting missions, and then you can fly air-to-air, too. So we would have Sparrow, which is a radar-guided missile that you guide from your airplane. And then you have heat-seeking missiles for close-in. and those are called sidewinders. And then those would be on the wingtips and on the fuselage of the airplane. And then on the wing stations, you could have any combination of bombs or, mines, all kinds of different weapons. So those,
Dick,
they can do a lot of damage.
Dick, did you ever go on a mission and not use your weapons and come back to the carrier and have to land with those munitions still on board?
It did happen to everybody on occasion, and it could have been maybe a problem with the airplane or something like that. But usually you want to get rid of that stuff. You don't want to bring it back to the carrier.
Yeah,
And,
you don't want to land with it, that's for sure.
yeah, because it is just extra weight. And, once you get rid of that, it's like you're flying a completely different airplane because you don't have that drag created from the weight.
Yeah. One final question. It's become somewhat of an argumentative issue, and that is Turkey would like President Trump to sell them the advanced and sophisticated F-35s. What's your thought on that?
Honestly, I don't know enough about our relationship with Turkey. I know he likes, what's the guy's name, Erdogan or something. Maybe I'm getting him mixed up with somebody else. But, yeah. And apparently Trump has a pretty good relationship with him. But if it destabilizes the Mideast, because apparently, what is Turkey, Europe now, I guess? I'm not sure what they are. But if it destabilizes the Middle East, because I know Netanyahu doesn't want Turkey to have those. And, if that creates more of a problem than it is a benefit, then, I think that's something that they need, and I'm sure they are. They're looking at every possibility, but you don't want to create another problem that you didn't have, the way I see it.
Well, good analysis of it as always. Always great talking to you. Dick gives clarification to some of the things that are going on, and as usual, thank you. God bless you for your service to our country.
Well, God bless you, and the same, Roger, and you guys all have a blessed day, and thanks for having me. I enjoy being with you.
Always look forward to it. Thank you, Dick.
Okay,
Have
bye-bye.
a great day. Dick Crane, former F-18 fighter pilot, who flew off of, I think he said 3 different, maybe 4 different aircraft carriers, but you fly off one, I guess you fly off of all of them because there's not a whole lot of difference. And as he has said on the show, and I had a neighbor across the street in Wardcliff who was a naval pilot who flew off of aircraft carriers and said it was a hairy experience the first time they landed on an aircraft carrier, and if you didn't think that was difficult, when they had to land at night was even, as my son would say as a child, it became worser. And indeed it is. 36 degrees.
How do you practice that?
Yeah. Well, they practice on land, as he said, multiple times, as if it's an aircraft carrier. And I would tell you, my neighbor said this, and Dick verified that's true. The first time you land on an aircraft carrier, it's not unusual for a pilot to pee his pants. That's how nerve-wracking. And both of them said that is pretty accurate because it is a spooky experience to land on that high-powered jet plane landing on a very short runway, and you got to get it right. I know there was a story years ago of the first female pilot to land on an aircraft carrier, and she didn't make it. She hit the side of the ship and was killed. And that gives you an idea of what a narrow window they have to execute that. And we're going to talk to our Mr. Weather coming up very shortly, but first this important message.
The car is making a strange noise. No matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
And per our schedule, we're delighted to say good morning to Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold. How are we doing, Kyle?
Good smoky morning, Roger, friends, Peoria, Illinois. How are you?
Yeah.
How I imagine.
Yeah. Where are you? Where are you?
Saugatuck.
Saugatuck.
Saugatuck, yeah.
Beautiful city.
Michigan? Is that in Michigan?
No, I don't know.
Beautiful Saugatuck, Michigan. I'm about a mile, so there's this mount. We call it Mount, the locals call it Mount Baldy. Mount Baldhead is right to the west of Saugatuck. So Saugatuck sits on the Kalamazoo River, where here it's more like a lake. Across the Kalamazoo River is this little half-mile strip of essentially sleeping dunes, sand dunes. They're no longer moving. And in that half-mile stretch of sand dunes, there is a whole community that's buried under sand. There's a church steeple that disappeared. The very top of it disappeared in the 70s, called Singapore, Michigan. And it was a big logging wood mill town, a logger town, where they had sawmills and whatnot. And then on the other side of Singapore, the buried town of Singapore, is Opal Beach, and that's Lake Michigan. And yeah, we thought the lake and the beautiful fresh waters off the lake would get this smoke and help us, but it is not at all. It's actually worse. And yesterday morning, I thought it was fog. It's not fog. It's smoke. It's really, really bad up here. We have about today's visibility is a little bit better. I sent Terry some pictures this morning on my morning run down along the water there on Kalamazoo River. Yesterday was really bad. Yesterday was like quarter-mile visibility. Today's about a half mile.
That's bad.
But,
That's
it's not
bad,
as hot
Kyle.
back home, so it is bad. It is so bad.
Can you
But the
smell
funny
the
thing is,
smoke?
so-
Can you smell it?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can. It's very evident that this is smoke. When it first arrived Wednesday evening, it was this ominous haze, and it was happening right around sunset, and the sun was this brilliant, like almost like fuchsia pink, from about 7:30 to about 9:45 when it went down finally, and it's bad. It almost looks like honestly like a haze, but it's not, because we're not as hot as you guys are back home. But
Yeah.
it's very, very evident as I sit here on the back deck.
And these are all from wildfires in Canada, right?
Yeah, the wildfires are about 500 miles to the northwest of us. Yeah, up in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to have another hot one today. How about the showers and the thunderstorms?
So showers and thunderstorms, if they happen, they'll be widely scattered. I think for the most part, we're looking at coverage in the afternoon hours. We call them popcorn thunderstorms, diurnal heat-driven thunderstorms, because there is finally energy in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, which on Monday I didn't think you'd see any rain this week, but you are getting a little spurt of energy, which hopefully we might see later this evening, which we're begging for, because that would help minimize some of the smoke and clear out some of it too. So we'll have to wait and see. But the prime time for any thunderstorm activity, I think, at least back home, and again, I am not really optimistic on thunderstorm chances today for you, but this is just based off models. I have no idea what the conditions are at home, based except on what observation's telling me, and I don't have any visual observation. So it's cloudy, it's sunny, I don't know, but I know it's been very humid there. And so I think storm times probably likely between 4 and 7 p.m. This evening in those late-day heat-driven thunderstorms. But I'm really not optimistic on your storm chances, to be perfectly honest.
I
just
can
don't
tell
see-
you, Kyle,
Yeah.
humidity is at 95%, if that'll give you a little bit of a feel. Yeah.
It certainly does. No, that's the thing. So we talked on Monday's show, and I was up here, and I said, you know, we're not going to be as hot as we were 2 weeks ago, the week of 4th of July, but you're not going to have as much wind. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think that is more upsetting for me anyways, if I was down there, because the breeze at least provides some relief. But have you had much wind this week back home or no?
No.
No.
See, so that makes it worse, in my opinion.
Yes, it does.
Even though it's not as hot as it was 2 weeks ago, you have no wind, you have no refreshing, you have no breeze. So it's just this heavy, humid, muggy air. And I hate to say sucks to be you guys, but truly, I mean, I'll take the smoke any day over that. So,
Yeah, I agree because
you know, my lungs, Dr. Sidler would disagree, but yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
tomorrow's going to be a hot one. High of 93, heat index of 103. So it's going to be kind of miserable.
Terrible. We come home tomorrow.
Well, we
man,
want to make you feel at home.
Well, I'm going to make you feel at home because I'm bringing cold weather with me.
Oh, good.
We'll be in the mid-80s on Sunday.
Wonderful.
So I'm bringing a cold front down with me. Yeah. I'm not really, but I'll take credit for it when I can. So.
Are you in Blueberry Hill country or?
Oh my gosh, are we ever? Oh, the blueberries are so wonderful. We went to this blueberry place. What was it, yesterday? No, Wednesday. Brownings. I don't know. It's a blueberry farm, and they had everything blueberry. They had blueberry pizza. They had blueberry muffins. They had blueberry cakes. Blueberry pies. The blueberry pie is delicious. I wanted to bring you back some, but we couldn't even save it one day. We ate it all the last 2 nights. It was so wonderful.
I don't know.
Oh, it was right north of Holland. It's called Brown Berry. I don't know what it's called. But anyways, it's Brown something. It's a family. They started in the 30s. And they also make blueberry vodka and blueberry wine. And it was so just magical. Oh, my gosh. I had this thing called a Blue Driver, which is blueberry vodka and blueberry juice. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I kid you not.
It's similar to a
screwdriver. Speaking of amazing, you guys will appreciate this. This isn't weather-related, but so President Trump gave an address to the people last night, and we're in Michigan. Michigan, obviously, the governor and the administration's not really a fan of the president. So CBS carried it, the local CBS station out of Grand Rapids, but NBC and ABC didn't carry it.
Right.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what is so funny is right about 10 o'clock, there was a breaking news special report, and it was the Attorney General here in Michigan. I think the lady's name is like Rebby Rue or something, or Rebby something. And what's funny to me, and they're talking about it right now this morning, like the social media and talk radio here in Michigan, is she comes on to refute what President Trump said, but the viewers have no idea what President Trump said because you didn't air the damn address. You talk about one-sided.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is unbelievable. No equal time here in Michigan, apparently. And it's just so funny to me. But yeah.
Well, that isn't any different. The local TV station newsroom didn't cover it all in their newscast. So it is, boycott time for the president. No, didn't carry it all.
They didn't talk about it?
No,
they're talking about
not
it.
at all in the morning.
They are.
No.
Michigan got called out, so they're talking about it here on local TV this morning here.
It is what it is, my friend.
Michigan.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good time in Blueberry Country, and maybe a little later on. Who was
Smoky Saugatuck.
That's Domino.
That's Domino. Blueberry Hill, was that the name of the song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll play that later on in the show in a tribute to your assignment to Blueberry Country in Michigan.
Yeah. Play some song with rainbows, because I'm surrounded by rainbow flags up here. But
okay.
No,
Yeah, we could do that as well. All right, got to let you go, my friend. Have a good time. We'll talk to you at 8:30.
Yeah, we'll talk more weather at 8:30 than politics and Saugatuck and smoke and rainbows and all that fun stuff.
There you go.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold. We have news, weather, sports coming up in the next hour. We're going to talk to the mayor of Pekin, Illinois, about what's going on in the Celestial City, and you're having breakfast with Roger and Friends. Dr. Gene Sidler, Teri Chamberlain, yours truly, Roger Monroe, on WAZU FM 90.7 in wonderful Peoria, Illinois, and also on YouTube at Roger and Friends LS. Tune us in. We're having fun this morning. I think we are. Good morning, everybody. It is a Friday. Beautiful morning, a little on the warm side, a little on the humid side. We'll give you the details. Anyway, coming up on this 17th of July. And check of the weather this morning brought to you by Spoon River Home Health, making a difference in the lives of their clients. And they've been doing this since 1993 with skilled nursing to bathing and personal care. You can get more information from Spoon River at 309-245-0723. Here's today's live weather forecast. Partly sunny, a high of 91 with a heat index of 101. There is a chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms, and ditto for tonight. A slight chance for showers under partly cloudy skies. The overnight low 74. Tomorrow sunny and hot. Possible afternoon showers and a high of 93. It's going to be a big one, a hot one tomorrow. Heat index 103. And Sunday cooling off, as Kyle said, as he returns from Michigan, sunny and around 87 degrees. We are currently at 76. Humidity, 95%. Now with our lead story, Teri Chamberlain.
Former Peoria and Creve Coeur police officer Caitlin Gherkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, on March 10th. The 28-year-old Gherkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Creve Coeur. She'll appear in court for arraignment August 6th.
A 41-year-old woman has been arrested after she stole an ambulance from Illini Ambulance Company of East Peoria, and the theft took place in the parking lot of Carl's Methodist Hospital's emergency area. And Crystal Crane, as the person police identified as the one who took off in the unlocked ambulance, as it turns out. Police used a drone to look for it, and they saw it, spotted it, parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street. That's not far from Methodist or St. Francis, for that matter. It's on the city's near north side. Well, she took off again, and this time hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court. If you're wondering where that is, that's a little court area that is in front of what used to be the Ramada Inn. Later on, it turned out to be a daycare center and the home of the Methodist School of Nursing. For 10 points, where the swimming pool used to be, what did they use that portion of that building for?
Well, it was a medical office.
No, that's
building.
that's across the street. That's on St. Mark's. But where the Ramada Inn, well, I'll help you out. It was a daycare center for Methodist employees. And it was neat. It was a great facility. But you're right. They had it was owned by the Demanis. They called the Medical Arts Building, if I remember right. Yeah. And then next to it, or facing, I'm trying to think, was that Fayette, the street that ran into it? Anyway, there was ophthalmologist for 10 points. Who was the ophthalmologist?
Raymond
Dr. Heidi.
Very good. Nice going. You can, ladies and gentlemen, we don't need.
Well, he built the building out on.
Yes, right.
Whatever that.
Yeah, but that's the one that I'm trying to think of.
Jackson, is it? No.
Yeah, it used to be Jackson. Now it's Fayette.
Is it? Okay.
Well, it was always been Fayette. Fayette has never changed.
Oh no, it's Spalding that changed.
Yeah,
Jackson.
Spalding. They changed to Spalding. Yeah, in honor of what, Cardinal Spalding, I think. Anyway, they did catch her and they slapped handcuffs on her, and I think the people at Illini Ambulance, which by the way has been purchased by AMT, and in query, in talking with an official. Josh Bradshaw. As a matter of fact, he said AMT vehicles are never left unlocked. And I don't think the ones at Alina Ambulance will do that. Anyway, in other news.
Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer and user off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavera Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia, along with guns and cash, in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and health of a child.
The Blue Angels, as we turn to national news, kicked off the Red, White, and Blue Air Show in Pensacola, Florida, with a dramatic low fly over the popular beach to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. If you watch the video, if you listen to the networks, it was a different story. The Blue Angels station at the naval base in Pensacola, and a great attraction for tourists. Some people, however, apparently complain, but in response, naval officials said there would be no reprimands or firings, nor should they be. And the Secretary of the Navy said the sound you heard was the sound of freedom. And we just got done talking to a guy who flew for the sound of freedom, Dick Crane, former manual student and Bradley University graduate. Neat guy to talk to.
President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night, providing an analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country.
To support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security say they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, 191,000 of them in California alone. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
The Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th district. He's got about as good a chance of winning as a snowstorm in Jacksonville today.
And I think that's pretty accurate. And one final local story, close to 1,000 Ameren customers in Morton yesterday were without power. The power outage lasted for over an hour from about 5 p.m. to around 6:20 p.m. No explanation from Ameren about the cause of the power interruption. That's a look at some of the stories we're following. Now we have news from WCBU presented by Advanced Medical Transport, the premier provider of emergency and scheduled ambulance service. There are more than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in health care. Saving lives is what they do.
From the WCBU Newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. A decision by the Peoria City Council on establishing a funding plan for repairs on the Twin Towers condominiums is targeted for late September. City Attorney Patrick Hayes says state law requires a 60-day wait to approve a special service area designation following this week's public hearing on the matter.
We'll also, in the interim, finish our discussions with local banks to see whether or not a financing mechanism other than a bond issue might be more attractive.
Tower residents have asked the city to create the special service area to generate the $2.5 million needed for the repairs. Tazewell County is putting together an ordinance that will spell out the rules and regulations for data centers built on county property. The ordinance isn't expected to go to the county board for at least 2 months, but the board's land use committee got an earful this week about a neighboring county's proposed data center ordinance. Mackinac resident Alan Green is Logan County's zoning officer. He said a 1-year data center moratorium the Logan County board passed was later ruled illegal by the county's state's attorney. In the first days of a week-long trial testing a remote piloted drone, Peoria police have used the technology to apprehend a suspect accused of stealing an ambulance. Officers responded to the 200 block of Northeast Glen Oak based on a report of a stolen ambulance being driven recklessly. Police say they deployed a department first response drone to locate the ambulance parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street. After the driver fled at a high speed, they were later taken into custody. Democratic Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was only nominated for the role to benefit President Donald Trump. Blanche is Trump's former personal lawyer. He testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is weighing whether to confirm him as the nation's top law enforcement official. Blanche faced questions from Durbin and others about the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein files, among other things.
In a time in history when we are witnessing the most corrupt presidency in the history of the United States, we need an attorney general who will stand up for what is right, stand up for honesty.
Durbin says Blanche is, quote, not loyal to the truth. I'm Ben Howell.
All right, let's get into the world of sports brought to you by BradleyFans.com. Dr. Peter Sidler. Glad to see baseball. I miss it when we don't have baseball. I miss it.
3-4 days without baseball, other than the All-Star game. That was a fun game to watch, but it's not the same as rooting for your team.
Who won that? I didn't watch it.
American League won,
Okay.
shut them out 4-0.
Ooh, that was boring.
Yeah. It might have been a little bit boring. I think the National League only had 2 hits in the game. They were shut down
It
pretty
follows
well.
the old adage, good pitching beats good hitting.
And the American League manager didn't allow any pitcher to pitch more than 1 inning, and not even every pitcher pitched a whole inning, so he was able to get, I think, 10 or 11
everybody in.
pitchers
Good for
into the
him.
game in a 9-inning game. So, yeah, good for him. Anyway, baseball news from yesterday. There was only one Major League Baseball game yesterday. It was a makeup, I think, for an earlier rainout. New York Mets beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1 last night. Mets need to climb out of a deep hole there in that National League East. They have really been bad the first half of the season. So let's see if they're a little bit better in the second half, although they did announce that all of their players are available for trade before the trade deadline, with the exception of their 4, actually just 1 high-paid player in Juan Soto, and then 3 of their better prospects that are young guys that they are protecting. But yeah, they're looking to go through another rebuild, and the Mets owner is a very wealthy guy, and he seems to be willing to spend the money, but it hasn't panned out for him. So yeah, they've got I think a $350 million roster, and it hasn't worked for him. Rest of the teams in Major League all start play again today after the All-Star game break. The Chicago Cubs will host the Minnesota Twins. The St. Louis Cardinals are at the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Chicago White Sox are in Toronto to play the Blue Jays. Peoria Chiefs resume their play tonight after their All-Star break as well. They are at the South Bend Cubs. World Cup soccer. This is the last weekend of the World Cup tournament here in the U.S. Also Canada and Mexico, some of the games. Argentina advanced to the World Cup final with their 2-1 win over England on Wednesday afternoon, and Argentina will play Spain in the World Cup title for the World Cup title on Sunday. Spain won their semifinal match Tuesday afternoon, 2-0 over France. Sunday's World Cup final is at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It'll be on the Fox Network, 2 p.m. Central Time. World Cup third place match is Saturday at 4 p.m. That'll be France versus England. In golf, the 154th Open Championship, formerly the British Open. I can't get used to just calling it
I can't either.
Open.
The British Open is the British Open.
It's the British Open. Anyway, it teed off earlier this morning for the second round at the Royal Birkdale Golf Club. And early second round leader now is an Australian golfer. Lucas Herbert has now 8 under par. He's 12 holes into the second round. The leader of the first round was 26-year-old American Jackson Suber, who was 6 under par after the first round, and he's still in second place as he's just beginning his second round. And the top favorite, Scotty Scheffler, he doesn't tee off till a little bit later this morning in the second round, but he is 2 under par, and he's at this point now 6 strokes back, but still early in the tournament, and we'll see how things go as it progresses to the final on Sunday. And the 113th Tour de France is in stage 13 of 21 stages today. Overall leader after 12 stages in the race is still the race favorite, Tadej Pogačar of Slovenia. He's got a 3.5-minute lead over second place Jonas Vingegaard of Denmark. He's going for his 5th Tour victory, which would tie him for the all-time lead with 4 other past riders. Some of the greats in cycling, you probably may not recognize these names. Eddy Merckx of Belgium, Jacques Antiquil
know
of
him
France,
quite well.
Bernard Hinault of France, and Miguel Indurain. Now, Miguel Indurain is from the 1990s. He was the guy that kind of dominated the 90s leading up to the Lance Armstrong era. He is also among the leaders with 4 wins on the tournament. So,
Household name.
household names
Yeah,
to
yeah.
cyclists maybe,
Yeah,
but not to
yeah.
Americans for the most part. But, cycling very big in Europe, becoming, I think, even slightly bigger as time passes here in the U.S. They now have several of these tours, and there's a tour of California. There is, that's like a 20-stage tour up and down the coast and the mountains of California. There's several of those tours now in the U.S. You don't hear much about them, but that's becoming a bigger sport here in the U.S. as well.
Here's a challenge for both of you. Do you remember when we used to have downtown bicycle races?
I remember they used to,
Yes,
but
they
I
did.
don't remember anything about
Yeah.
them as well
Yeah,
before my time.
downtown we used to have races. We had some guy one year get seriously injured when he fell off the bike, but I think it was sponsored by Proctor Hospital when I look back on it. And it was exciting, it was fun, and brought a lot of people to downtown Peoria. Look it up and see if
Let me see
you
if I
can find
any
out
references
what
to it.
what year or years that it took place. And it was an exciting time. We didn't have a Lance Armstrong.
Well,
But,
here's an article from the Peoria Journal-Star from 2016 by Steve Tarter.
I think it happened long
Much
before
before that.
2016.
He's going back in history, talks about the 19th century bicycle races in Peoria, where the fastest bicyclists in the world came to compete.
Yeah.
Lakeview Park was where there was a ball field located next to where the Komatsu plant now is on Adams Street. It was a half-mile track, one of the top places for international bicycling.
Yeah, now that's not the same thing because Komatsu is on the north side in my neighborhood. By the way, we have a story about Rock Island and Camlin. Well, Camlin is a street that runs east and west, beginning on North Adams and runs up to the Rock Island street. But that's different. And the field they're talking about is Woodruff Field. But this was in downtown Peoria. Well, we'll let you look it up, and maybe you can find some
I was
details.
also going to bring up a little bit of sports history regarding Pensacola that had a
Well, they're in the hockey league that Peoria plays.
yes, they
The
are. But I'm
Pensacola
talking
Flyers.
football. I'm talking
In
football.
football.
When Bradley
Yes,
played
and
football,
you're going to talk about the quarterback for
well, I
Pensacola.
might mention his name, but Bradley did play. They had a really good football team, the Pensacola
Pensacola.
Naval Base. Now these were older men in their mid and even late 20s.
Well, this guy went on to play for.
I get to that.
Okay,
But
sorry.
my
I'm so excited.
Point being that they scheduled games against what at that time were called the small college teams.
Like
teams like Bradley, Youngstown State was another one that year that they played. I remember, but they played Bradley in 1968. Bradley had to travel down to Pensacola to play a game against them, and they were very good. They beat Bradley 35-0 and shut them out. Their quarterback was Roger Staubach,
Right.
who was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1965, but because he attended the Naval Academy at that time, they were required to spend at least 4 years in active military duty, which he did at Pensacola Naval Base. He was the quarterback of that team, and they were a fantastic team. I believe they went undefeated for at least a couple of the years that he played on that team for them, the Pensacola Naval Base football team.
Yeah, did he wind up, like you said, with Dallas?
Yes, he was drafted by Dallas out of
The Naval
Academy in
yeah.
1965, but was not able to play for them until 1969.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, of course, he had filled out and become a much bigger, stronger player as well, and it was an immediate dominating quarterback in the NFL.
And a neat guy,
all
too.
through the 70s, yeah.
Considered as a real gentleman,
very,
to say the
very,
least.
very good guy.
All right, we have 77 degrees. Going to be a hot one, boys and girls, today, according to, of course, Mr. Weather, Kyle Varnold, who's vacationing up in Blueberry Country in Michigan. The high today, 91, with a heat index of 101. We are at 78 degrees, and it is 7:20, and time for our usual pet tip of the day. Are you there, Louis Linder? Come on in. I know we're a different time.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. I like to think that I'm helping fellow dog and cat owners find the best solutions for keeping their pets healthy and happy. One of the many ways we can do that is by weight management. If we or our pets keep the extra pounds off, we lessen the risk of many expensive health problems. Just like with humans, that means exercise and not eating more than we burn. The form of exercise should take into consideration the behavior of our pets, which is linked to their genetics. Hunting breeds will like retrieving games like fetching and hiking. Beagles and dachshunds get excited about food stuffed into a Kong toy that they have to work to get at. They also like to chase things. Herding breeds might like flying discs or agility courses, while toy breeds like squeaky toys, learning tricks, and playing games. Of course, all dogs like to walk with us. Now, cats love a paper bag, cardboard tube, toy mice tied to a string that you can dangle, or chasing a beam of a pin light. It's fun to play with cats, but dogs make the best workout partners. So remember, if your dog is overweight, it is likely that you are too. Form a team and get moving. It's good for everyone. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's pet tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Well, there you have it. The latest from Lou Linder and Company, brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory, Bruce and Lance and Jamie and all the great people who do such a wonderful, wonderful job when you lose your pet. So keep their phone number handy. And I have been exonerated. You did find the bicycle race in downtown Peoria. Did it say it was called the Proctor Cycling Classic? Yes. And what years
Well, from the
did
early
it say?
2000s, at least through 2008 or 9, or was it?
2007 was the big
7
accident.
was when the death occurred.
Yeah. How did it happen? Did it give the details?
I was not there. I don't
Not a lot of
know.
details, no.
Okay. But they came from all over the country. I don't know. I think you said one account said all over the world to participate, and
That
it
was
was.
that earlier one in the 1890s and early
Oh well, I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah, drew cyclists from all over the country. It was part of a national cycling circuit. But this one, I think that you're referring to was a different. It was more of an exhibition kind of thing.
Well, I know that they had some great cyclists, and I would go down and watch. And the turnout was excellent, and the riders were outstanding, and they were flying. I mean, absolutely flying. You know, the little tiny skinny tires on when I was used to, like I had to use Schwinn bike and had big balloon, not big, but larger than life. I guess you might say. You remember, I think we talked about this before, Schwinn was a Cadillac, and it was a very expensive bicycle. If you had a Cadillac, in this case it's Schwinn, you had the Cadillac. And then, you remember, I think it was Montgomery Ward that came out with a cheaper bicycle. You remember the name of it?
Huffy's?
Huffy is exactly right. And that broke new ground for people who couldn't afford or didn't want to. And they had a bicycle shop in downtown Peoria in the 400 block of South Adams, across the street from my dad's barber college, that was a bicycle shop exclusively. 10 points, what was the name of it?
Peoria Bicycle Shop.
Yeah, well, that was a good shot. Voss, V-O-S-S, and I assume that was the owner's name. And they specialize. And there's a place in Pekin that is also a big bicycle shop. And then what was the name of the one that used to be in the Metro Center that sold bicycles?
Bushwhacker?
Yes.
They sell all kinds of sporting
Yeah,
stuff.
they did. Yeah, mostly skiing and
canoeing and
canoeing and yeah, a little bit of everything. But they also sold bicycles. But the cycle shop of all cycle shops, past and present, is Witt.
Is that the Washington?
Russell's, yeah. Not Pete Russell, his brother runs it. Pete is the general manager of Channel 25, but I can't think of his brother's name, but they have everything. They have bicycles. I remember going in, that's where I bought my treadmill, as a matter of fact, and I started looking at the bicycles and the price tags. Ouch, there are no Huffies at Russell's cycle shop. They are not inexpensive.
And that's another one of those sports where people who just like to go on a recreational bike ride go out and buy these $5,000 bikes that probably are comparable, the carbon fiber structures and everything to make them lightweight, but they just use them to ride the streets.
And one of the safest type of bicycles for older Americans like me are the ones that have three wheels, the two in the back and the one in the front. And somebody rode by on one of those the other day, and I said, "Have you thought about training wheels?" No, I didn't. I didn't say that. Do you remember working with your children for their first time experience, and then the big day when you said we're going to take the training wheels off, and that was heart stopping because you didn't want the kids to fall down.
No.
And are you old enough to remember? Did you ever have a bicycle with training wheels, Terry? Yeah. That had to be one of the greatest inventions for children mankind has ever produced. The idea that because when I grew up, we didn't have training wheels.
I don't remember that either. I don't remember that.
No, you just put your legs down, and we didn't have kiddie bikes back then. I don't remember if they did. We didn't have one. Dad just bought, or I just bought a used bicycle, and that's how. Same way with the car. My dad, my mom never learned to drive, and my dad didn't teach me to drive. I had a kid by the name of Bob Malali teach me. He lived on Sloan Street at Rock Island, and he's the one that taught me with a stick shift. We didn't have automatic transmission back then. Matter of fact, most of what we traveled with back then was horses. No, I'm just kidding. And that's how I learned. How'd you learn to drive?
My mom took
Your
me
mom did?
out with a car and
Said go for it.
yeah, I picked it up pretty quick. Our first car, I had a paper route, so we had enough money to buy a car. You could buy a used car back then for like $50 from somebody, an old dealer. It was a 1954 Chevy, 3-speed on the column, learned to drive that, and that was fun.
Yeah.
I did find an article from the Journal Star 2007 about the bicyclist who died. It was on Brimfield Jubilee Road out west of Peoria, about 3 miles from the finish line. So apparently the course must have winded out west of Peoria and then back. She collided with another bicyclist and then was forced into the other lane, and a truck hit her and killed her instantly.
I don't remember it leaving downtown Peoria, so I'm surprised to hear that. Maybe
it happened west of Peoria on Brimfield Jubilee Road, 9:30
yeah, that's way out there, as you know. Anyway, we're going to talk to the mayor of Pekin. When we come back, we'll learn how Teri Chamberlain learned how to drive an automobile and who helped her for that matter. But first, let's get into the news and the weather as we bring. And we start with the weather brought to you by our good friend Bob Manning for investment questions and information, that kind of information. Talked about Manning. He's with the Grandview Capital Group and Morgan Stanley right here in Peoria. He is Senior Vice President, has been in the investment advisory field for more than 27 years. And you can reach Bob today at 309-671-4653. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC, member SIPC. And now here's our live weather report. Partly sunny and a high of 91 with a heat index of 101. There's a chance for showers and thunderstorms later today and later tonight, too, for that matter, with tonight's low 74. Tomorrow, sunny and a hot one. Chance for afternoon showers. A high of 93 with a heat index tomorrow of 103. Sunday, it'll be sunny and 87. And we're up to 78 degrees with our humidity at 95%. Now the news with Teri Chamberlain.
Former Peoria and Creve Coeur police officer Caitlin Gherkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, March 10th. The 28-year-old Gherkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Creve Coeur. She'll appear in court for arraignment August 6th. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested after she stole an ambulance at Carl's Methodist Hospital. The vehicle was parked at the hospital's emergency area when Crystal Crane decided to take it for a spin. A drone was used to spot it, parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street on the city's near north side. She took off again, but hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court, near where the once popular Ramada Inn was located. She was cuffed and taken to the county jail and charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer/user off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavare Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia, along with guns and cash in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and health of a child. The Blue Angels kicked off the Red, White, and Blue Air Show in Pensacola with a dramatic low flyover the popular Florida beach, to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. The Blue Angels are stationed at the Naval Base in Pensacola and are a great attraction for tourists. Some people complained, but Navy officials said there will be no reprimands or firings, nor should there be. President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night, providing an analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country. To support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security says they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, 191,000 of them in California. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th District. And those are the headlines, Roger.
All right, thank you. We have 78 degrees. Our humidity, ouch, 95%. So it's going to be a tough one today, as we said. The high today, 91, with a heat index of 101. Wonder what the temperature is like over in Pekin, Illinois. Well, we'll ask the mayor of the city of Pekin, who's on the line, Mary Buress. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Roger. How are you?
Okay, I assume it's just as hot there as it is in Peoria.
We've got the same temperature and that same crazy humidity. It's way up there.
Yeah, it is up there, that's for sure. Hey, let's talk about time capsules. You've been involved in it. You just recently opened one, and I think you're in the process, if it hasn't already happened, to put another one away. Give us the details.
Yeah, that was really exciting for the city of Pekin. You know, we were given instructions from 50 years ago of a time capsule that was buried, when to unearth it. And we did that July 4th of 24. And in that, we first started, some city workers, street workers, they just started digging where we were told it was, and they just kept digging and digging and kept deeper and deeper, and we finally had to bring in equipment because it was like 5 foot down. It was really buried deep. But anyway, long story short, we brought it up, we let it air out for a few days, and then we were able to open it. And there was some damage done to some of the stuff. So at that point, we thought, you know what, we've got to come up with some better idea. We cannot bury another one. And that's when we came up with having one to be displayed in City Hall. It is metal, it is sealed, will be. Then we will have a list of things that we are putting in that time capsule to be opened up July 4th of 76. That will be then the 300-year anniversary of our United States, and it will be the 50 years more. There was so many unique things that were buried. Everything from a letter from the mayor 50 years ago, his prediction, to stuff from Caterpillar and corn products and individuals, letters from the high school, and it was really exciting. But there was quite a bit of stuff damaged.
Yeah, you mentioned Mary Corn Products. Is that company still around?
It is, and it is thriving. It is Alto, A-L-T-O, and they're actually, we just had an article, a news release, that they're trying to get a port here in the city of Pekin. So that will get some truck traffic off of the streets and into, the riverway. So they're working on I believe it's a $16 million grant for a port through the Port Authorities. So that's really exciting and thrilling for making the city of Pekin grow.
Speaking of that, there's a lot of river traffic in Pekin. Whenever I go over the bridge, and depending which bridge it is, of course, I am amazed at the amount of barges that I see in the river. Is that kind of a byproduct or by business of corn products, or is that go ahead.
Yeah, that is a perfect example of them using their riverway, and we have, different companies in our industrial park that will eventually use it. If this port comes to, we do have a small one, but they are wanting one larger and more able to use it daily.
Yeah. Something else about Pekin I remember. Wasn't there a dairy called Sodwettle Dairy for many years in Pekin?
Yeah, there was, and I don't know when it closed, and we've got a lot of land or subdivisions that are named after the Sodwettle. So big name in town, was here for many years,
Yeah. Give us an update on Court Street. You continue to improve that major thoroughfare that runs east and west through the city. Lots of work going on.
Oh, my goodness. So you are right. There is, I think I've told you before, that's a $35 million project that will be done. Everything holding holding steady with weather, everything else. It should be done by December of this year. But my family and I, we were just on vacation, and as we were coming back, my son said, what do you think a difference is going to be in the city of Pekin? What do you think they've gotten done? And I said, from one side of the street to the other, you have got to pay attention on Court Street. They're working on the ADA sidewalks on one side. They're getting everything ready, the curbing, and then they'll switch it to the other side. So you might go down Court Street on the right side, and a week later you're going to come back on the right side and down on the left side. So you have got to pay attention because it's moving. It is going to be beautiful. We did have a little bit of a hiccup with the lighting. We've had some people complain about the street lights are not in sync. And I tried to tell them, hold tight, because once it's all done, it'll all be, the state comes in with us, and they synchronize everything, all the traffic lights. Well, with this last storm, one of them was actually hit. So it was really creating a little bit of a, shall we call it a bottleneck. But, little things like that are going to happen. But in the long run, it is going to be beautiful, and our city is going to look like it had a fresh makeover.
Yeah, no question about that. And I'll talk a little bit also about what I consider one of the neat attractions to the city of Pekin, and that is your lagoon. That just continues to be a beehive of activity for people who walk on the trail around the lagoon. Their families that bring their kids over, and some who don't bring their kids over, and they fish in the lagoon. It's just really kind of a center of activity for the community of Pekin.
It really is. And, we have a beautiful park district, and it starts right there with the lagoon and the pavilion that is there. We have people actually getting married in that pavilion. But it is right in the center of town. We have Carl Health, Pekin Hospital, right across from the lagoon.
Yeah.
And they are putting $5.8 million into renovating it. And my comment to the gentleman that runs it, Mr. Tony Howard, was, it's unfortunate if somebody has to have a stay in the hospital. But if you are lucky enough to get that view and overlook the lagoon, that will brighten your day. I mean, it's just a beautiful lagoon and park. They keep it up wonderfully. People come from, I've spoke to people that aren't from Pekin, and they come over here to get on the paddle boats and just have a great day.
Yeah, it's a fun time, you bet. Anything else, Mary Buress, Mayor of Pekin, to add to our conversation this morning?
We've constantly got things moving here. Our latest is we are speaking with a contractor to purchase the first 40 acres of our Ludican property. The city bought 1,000 acres to be connected to 474, which is a huge project. And we're in negotiations with a company for the first 40 acres. So I'm very pleased with that.
Well, as always, Mary Buress, we enjoy talking to you and bringing everybody up to date with what's happening in Pekin, Illinois. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a beautiful day, Roger and friends.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks,
Mary
bye.
Buress, sweetheart, mayor of the city of Pekin. Always a pleasure talking with her, and we'll be right back after this.
And now the Illinois Emergency Management Agency presents actress Marion Ross as Marion.
I'm very ashamed of you.
Excuse me?
I'm disappointed, that's all.
In me?
You just don't get it. We could have a real emergency at any time, and are our families prepared?
Well...
No, not by a long shot.
We're not?
No, young man, I just said that.
Well, see, I was just supposed to introduce you.
Oh, sure. You go about your business, not caring one whit about making sure you're prepared with a family plan and an emergency preparedness kit. Well, I care.
Well, I care, too.
Oh, so you do have a family plan and an emergency preparedness kit all put together?
No.
Well, then, I just have one thing to say.
Yes?
You get yourself over to ready.illinois.gov and learn about what you need in an emergency preparedness kit.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you waiting for?
Oh, okay. Sponsored by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. And check out ready.illinois.gov on Facebook and Twitter.
You have a very nice voice.
Oh, thank you.
Don't slouch, dear.
Sorry.
Don't slouch. That's right. Stand up straight for that matter. 78 degrees, a high today of 91, heat index 101. And it is a Friday, and I think the Morton Library is back to entertaining this evening behind the library. Give us the details, if you would, Terry Chamberlain.
Yep, Groove in the Garden at the Morton Public Library, which is at 315 West Pershing. Now tonight is going to be Now and Zen, a variety of genres using a unique instrument called a Zen drum. That sounds interesting. The food trucks.
Yes, well, let's talk about the food.
Yes, the food trucks start at 6 o'clock. The ones tonight are The Station and Sucre Sweets Trolley. Music starts at 6:30.
Kemosabe.
Bring a blanket or lawn. I would prefer a lawn chair. Next week is Vinyl Tap. That's my friend's band. I will be there. That'll be Nate Dogs and Scrolls. And then their final one is going to be July 31st. And that's Sly Dog Acoustic Duo. And they do country, classic rock, and 80s and beyond. So.
And that's the schedule for the Morton Library. No charge.
In the garden.
And good food that's available and a good program for that matter. All right, this is July 17th and the year as we get into this day in history, 1975. And I have to give you a clue of the category where we are. Let's see. I don't know what to do. Let's start with the area of subject.
Politics.
So it is not politics. It is not sports. It's not theater.
Not entertainment of any kind?
Not entertainment, no. Although it was entertaining to follow it. Excuse me.
Follow it as in.
Follow it. So it took
was
place.
an ongoing thing, and so people
Yes,
were following it?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So was this the start of something?
Well,
On this
I
date?
think Steve Allen wrote the song. This is the start of something big. But what's his name? Steve, not Steve. Yeah, Steve Lawrence sang. But no, it took some time to achieve it. I think I'm trying to think how long it took.
Was it related to some form of science?
Well, you could call it that.
Space related?
Space?
Now, there you got
what
it.
I'm getting at.
It was related to space. Yes, very good.
Okay, was it a launch of one of the Apollo missions?
It was an Apollo spacecraft. That is correct.
Now we have to try to guess what Apollo. Well, see, that would be a little early for Apollo.
Apollo 15.
You know, they do not. I can just tell you it was an Apollo spacecraft. I do not see if it had a number other than just called Apollo.
Was this a moon mission?
It was not a moon mission, no.
Did it launch a satellite? Did they take
No.
a satellite up?
Was it the last Apollo mission?
I can't answer that
Oh,
question. It was, you're right. It was the final Apollo program. Thank you. I had to read near the end of the narrative
Yeah.
to discover that. So it was the last mission. And it was quite a mission.
Was this the one that Houston, we have a problem?
No.
No, that was Apollo 13, I thought.
This was historic. An historic mission. All right, I've got to give you another clue. It was a historic mission. I sound like Don Knotts on
Well,
Maryberry.
they didn't go to the moon.
No, it didn't go to the moon.
And they didn't go to Mars. Only
Was it
sent
the
them-
first spacewalk?
No. You're getting closer. We say hide the thimble. You're getting closer. It's getting warmer. You're getting warmer. It involved another spacecraft.
First time it was docked with a Soviet
That is correct.
space capsule.
What was the name of the Soviet?
Soyuz.
Very good. The Apollo spacecraft and the Soviet spacecraft, Soyuz, what number was the Soyuz?
It's getting too tight.
2 digits.
Soyuz 11,
No, higher,
21,
lower,
15.
higher,
Oh, higher than that.
18.
a little higher.
We're getting zeroed in. It got to be 19.
Yes, that's what it was. And they, as the hatch opened between the two vessels, the commanders, who was the commander of the Apollo? Has same last name as a dairy in Peoria for many years.
Stafford.
That is correct, Thomas Stafford. I went to school with the 2 sons that were involved in that. And great family, the Stafford family. And who was the Russian? His first name, Alexei,
I'm sure we'll get this with enough guesses.
starts with the letter L, and then the letter E, and then O, and then N, and then O-V.
Leonova.
Yes. They shook hands and exchanged gifts in celebration of the first such meeting between 2 Cold War adversaries in space. And as you indicated, it was the final Apollo program mission conducted by NASA. Well, you did good. All right, let's go to tomorrow because we won't be here. July 18th, the year 1986. Something historic took place. And it involved something that took place years earlier.
It was a discovery of some kind. No?
No, not really.
Was it in the United States?
Well, I guess you could say yes and no. I have to kind of vacillate a little bit in that connection.
Okay. Did it involve a performance of some kind?
No. One of the things that I want to help you on, it was related to a terrible tragedy. And it was kind of like an update of that tragedy. And the tragedy happened off the coast of...
okay. It's a sunken ship.
Yes.
And it was rediscovered or something. Maybe was this?
Well, let's start
Titanic?
with the sunken ship. Let's start with it.
It wasn't the Titanic.
Yes, it was.
It was the Titanic.
Yes.
They found the Titanic.
Found the location of the Titanic.
No.
Nope.
They knew where it was, but something took place that...
Well, they explored it with a remote...
with the submersible thing.
Submersible.
Yes.
They might have, but in this case, no.
This was too early for Bob Ballard. That was in the 90s, I think, when he did his exploration. Is that correct? This was not Bob Ballard and his...
Yes, it was.
It was,
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But also Bob Ballard, or Robert Ballard, in conjunction with Jean-Louis Michel, or we would say Michael. And what did they do?
The first pictures?
That's close to it. You could
Did
say
they
yes.
recover artifacts?
But use a different word than pictures.
Video.
Yes,
They had
very good. That's why I didn't want to
live video.
disqualify you on that, because it was pictures, but it was the first video of the wreckage of the Titanic was released to the public. It was taken on the first manned, as you were indicating, expedition to the wreck. The videotape showed one of the ship's what? What was one of the first things you saw on the video?
Smokestack?
The what?
The smokestack?
No.
The boilers?
hull.
The what?
The boilers?
Yeah. No. Think inside the ship.
Staircase?
The staircase, the majestic grand staircases, and a beautiful what?
Chandelier?
Chandelier. Very good, Terry. Did you see the? You remember seeing the video?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was swinging slowly in the ocean current. It was kind of majestic, but yet spooky of it. In 1985, Robert Ballard, in conjunction with Michelle, located the remains of the Titanic. How many miles southeast of Newfoundland? You're right.
It was relatively close.
Not well.
Like 300 miles.
350 miles. Very good. How many feet down on the ocean floor was the Titanic?
I'm going to guess 12,000 feet. Is that anywhere close?
That's very close. As a matter of fact, it was almost exactly right. 12,500 feet on the ocean floor. And it was released July 18th, 1986. Absolutely amazing. And, of course, we all remember the Titanic movie. How close was that to what really happened? would you say?
James Cameron, the director, he studied everything about those images and recreated them pretty accurately, supposedly. The staircase and all that was built as close. Well, of course, he also had the plans from the original building of the Titanic to go by. But yeah, he recreated everything as close to authentic as I think it could be done.
It was quite a scene. Okay, final. How much time do we have? Oh, we don't have enough time. We have one more story. Historically, July 19th of 1799. And that's we'll answer that after we break for news, weather, and sports at the top of the hour. You're having Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU FM 90.7 in Peoria, Illinois. Also on YouTube at Roger and Friends LS. Good to see everybody on YouTube this morning. And we can tell you it's going to be another hot one. The details coming up. But right now we're at 78 degrees and the humidity at 95%.
We hope you are enjoying Breakfast with Roger and Friends, which is the fastest growing morning show on 90.7 WAZU. And now it can be seen as well as heard on the World Wide Web on YouTube. Savvy business leaders may be interested in sponsorships on Breakfast with Roger and Friends. More information is available from Roger himself. His phone number is 309-397-1458. That's 309-397-1458.
Hello, I'm Teri Chamberlain, and you're listening to Breakfast with Roger and Friends on WAZU 90.7 FM, Peoria, Illinois.
I'm glad we had this talk.
beautiful morning. It's going to be a warm, humid day for that matter as we take a check of the weather. And the weather forecast this morning is brought to you by our friends at Advanced Medical Transport, providing emergency and scheduled ambulance service throughout central Illinois. More than 500 AMT employees, men and women, dedicated to offering and providing the best in healthcare. Saving lives is what they do, and they do a great job of it, as you probably know. Partly sunny today with a high of 91, a heat index of 101. There is a chance for some precipitation later today and also tonight for that matter, under partly cloudy skies, a low of 74. Tomorrow will be sunny and hot, a good chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. The high tomorrow 93, and the heat index tomorrow, the heat index 103. Sunday, different story. Sunny, not as warm, 87 the high, and right now our temperature at 80 degrees with 96% humidity. Now with our lead story, Terry Chamberlain. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning. Former Peoria and Creve Coeur police officer Caitlin Gherkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, on March 10th. The 28-year-old Gherkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Creve Coeur. She'll appear in court for arraignment August 6th.
Here's a story for the books. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested. She stole an ambulance at Carl's Methodist Hospital. The vehicle parked, unlocked by the way, at the hospital's emergency area when Crystal Crane decided to take it for a spin. A drone used by city police was able to spot it, parked later in the 300 block of Wayne Street, and that's on the city's near site, not far from the hospital, as a matter of fact. Well, once she got spotted and they approached her, she took off again, but in doing so, hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court, near where the once popular Ramada Inn was located. She was handcuffed, taken to the county jail, charged with possession of a stolen vehicle.
Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer, also user, off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavera Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia, along with guns and cash in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and health of a child.
That's not good, to say the least. Let's turn to some national news. The Blue Angels kicked off the red and white blue air show and celebration in Pensacola with a dramatic low fly over the popular Florida beach to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. The Blue Angels are stationed at the Naval Base in Pensacola, a great attraction, by the way, for tourists. Some people, we don't know who, complained, but Navy officials said there will be no reprimands, no firings, nor should they be. She said that it was the sound of freedom. And we had a wonderful interview earlier this morning with former Navy combat fighter pilot Dick Crane, who also said it was a great event.
President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night, providing an analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country.
And to support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security say they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, 191,000 of them in the state of California. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. The report answers media claims Trump has failed to produce any evidence of illegal voting. I think you could say there's 278,000 points of evidence.
I would say so.
I would think so.
The Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th district. He's got about a good chance of winning as a
snowflake in July, or in this case, Jacksonville. Finally, close to 1,000 Ameren customers in Morton were without power yesterday afternoon. I was one of those. The power outage lasted for over an hour from about 4:55, 5 p.m. to around 6:20. No explanation so far from Ameren about what caused the interruption that not only shut off my computer, but my air conditioner. And I sat there wondering how much longer. Actually, my house did stay relatively cool during that period of time. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I would have had to go out and gotten into my car and sat there with the air conditioning running, which would not have been a very good idea. All right, those are some of the stories we're following. Now we turn to WCBU for their news headlines.
From the WCBU newsroom, I'm Ben Howell. A decision by the Peoria City Council on establishing a funding plan for repairs on the Twin Towers condominiums is targeted for late September. City Attorney Patrick Hayes says state law requires a 60-day wait to approve a special service area designation following this week's public hearing on the matter.
We'll also, in the interim, finish our discussions with local banks to see whether or not a financing mechanism other than a bond issue might be more attractive.
Tower residents have asked the city to create the special service area to generate the $2.5 million needed for the repairs. Tazewell County is putting together an ordinance that will spell out the rules and regulations for data centers built on county property. The ordinance isn't expected to go to the county board for at least 2 months, but the board's land use committee got an earful this week about a neighboring county's proposed data center ordinance. Mackinac resident Alan Green is Logan County's zoning officer. He said a 1-year data center moratorium the Logan County board passed was later ruled illegal by the county's state's attorney. In the first days of a week-long trial testing a remote piloted drone, Peoria police have used the technology to apprehend a suspect accused of stealing an ambulance. Officers responded to the 200 block of Northeast Glen Oak based on a report of a stolen ambulance being driven recklessly. Police say they deployed a department first response drone to locate the ambulance parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street. After the driver fled at a high speed, they were later taken into custody. Democratic Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin says Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche was only nominated for the role to benefit President Donald Trump. Blanche is Trump's former personal lawyer. He testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, which is weighing whether to confirm him as the nation's top law enforcement official. Blanche faced questions from Durbin and others about the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein files, among other things.
In a time in history when we are witnessing the most corrupt presidency in the history of the United States, we need an attorney general who will stand up for what is right, stand up for honesty.
Durbin says Blanche is, quote, not loyal to the truth. I'm Ben Howell.
Some people might argue with you, Ben, but that's okay. Let's get into sports, brought to you by BradleyFans.com. And, of course, that's the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Gene Sidler. Are you beginning to see an uptake in the chat room of BradleyFans.com as we get closer to the basketball season?
Well, yes, and I mentioned briefly yesterday that there was a little bit of news that we broke this week here about Bradley signing one additional new player to this year's recruiting class. As we had talked about a few times, an injury occurred to point guard Georgi Gurganov, who is the Bulgarian point guard who was probably projected to be the starting point guard this year for the team, with Jaquan Johnson going into the transfer portal and transferring over to Iowa State at $2 million a year in NIL payment over there from what we hear. Anyway, Georgie had a knee injury. He had surgery yesterday and it went very well. We heard from him.
Did he have it here in Peoria?
Yes. He stayed in Peoria, had surgery here. It went very well. We have somebody who was actually in contact with him, said that he said that he's doing very well and he's going to start his rehab here in Peoria.
Wonderful.
And He will not play at all in the 26-27 season, which we don't know the exact nature of the injury, but that makes it sound like it's probably a ligament injury. Yeah, most likely that anterior cruciate ligament, which is the one that the basketball players most often will injure if we're talking about long-term recovery like this. But usually the recovery is good. And Bradley's had a number of players in the past that have had these injuries. Rink Mast was one of them, sat out his entire first year at Bradley.
Yeah. I think he went to college for, what, 6 years?
That is, actually, I think it was 7. Because he got a COVID year, and then he had 2 injury years. Yeah, over at Nebraska, he tore his other knee ACL and had to have that repaired. And so, yeah, he was actually in college 7 years, although he only played 5 years.
That's unbelievable, just unbelievable. Yeah. Now, the kid that just had major surgery, have you found out, will he be able to play the piano?
It was not an injury to his hands, so I believe
so
if he is a pianist,
he can still play. All right.
He probably will still be able to play the piano.
Well, that's good to hear.
But the big news was that Bradley signed another guard, and Coach Wardle was keeping a scholarship open just in case he had a need somewhere here later in the summer and so forth, and that did arise with Georgie's injury. So they just signed a Spanish point guard. Not too many players left in the transfer portal this late that are transferring from U.S. colleges, are American. So he went overseas again, like Bradley has done a number of times in the last few years. Signed this 6'3" guard from Spain. He's a very talented kid. We expect him to be able to contribute right away as a freshman. He'll be here shortly to participate. He's actually playing for the under 20-year Spanish national team right now in an international tournament over in Europe, and they are into the semifinals. So Spain doing very well with him on the team there in the under 20 national. Well, it's called FIBA, F-I-B-A. Federation International Basketball Association. That's the international governing organization over basketball. Anyway, that's the news that's broke this week, a new player, and people trying to guess how that's going to affect the team. I think it'll still hurt because Georgie was a much more experienced guy. He was 24 years old and going to come in as a freshman with a number of years of experience playing over there in the European Pro Leagues. Now, he's not a pro, but they do have a couple of amateurs on every team that are what they call developmental players, but he was so good that he was a starter and was actually the star of his team. So we expected him to really be a big contributor this year, and losing him was a big blow. So, yeah, people are trying to guess where that puts Bradley for the next season, and we are actually seeing most people picking Bradley more or less in the middle of the Missouri Valley for next season. So no real extreme high hopes for Bradley, but a lot of room maybe to surprise us there. We'll hope that that's the case.
Yeah, we hope. You never know, because he bring in a lot of new kids with unknown talents. Might surprise people.
Bradley, for the first several years of this NIL money, was right at the top of the Missouri Valley. Very well funded from donors, other sources. But we've fallen back a bit, and that's because some other schools, Murray State most notably, has some very wealthy donors. And they just this year received a $2.5 million donation specifically for their basketball program from a donor. And that $2.5 million is more than every other team has for their entire NIL fund, let alone just a single donation. So that is putting some teams ahead of Bradley in terms of who they can attract, who they can sign out of the transfer portal. Maybe even a couple of their players are players that would have gone to higher level schools, but because they can get paid a lot, they're going to go to Murray State. And so they're going to be picked high again. Illinois State has most of their players coming back. They're going to be picked high again. So we'll see. If I think it'll be a stretch if Bradley can make it into that top 3 or 4 this year. But
we hope.
Coach Wardle's a great coach. I think it can be done. We'll see. Anyway, sports from yesterday. We have very little baseball news. Only one game. The New York Mets beat the Philadelphia Phillies in a game last night, 4-1. The rest of the major league teams resume play today after their All-Star break. The Chicago Cubs host the Minnesota Twins, St. Louis Cardinals at Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Chicago White Sox are in Toronto to play the Blue Jays. And the Peoria Chiefs resume play tonight as well in the Midwest League. They are in South Bend to play the South Bend Cubs. World Cup competition wraps up this weekend. Argentina advanced to the World Cup final Wednesday, with their 2-1 win over England. And in the other semifinal on Tuesday, it was Spain beating France 2-0. So it'll be Argentina and Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday. It's at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It'll be on at 2 p.m. Central Time, and that's on the Fox Network.
Who are you picking?
Well, I think Argentina is going to probably be favored, but not by much, because Spain came into this tournament ranked number 1 in the world. Now that changed a little bit as each round proceeded through the tournament, and I think they're now ranked 3rd or 4th, and Argentina has jumped over them, and I believe Argentina is now ranked number 1. So it's really going to be a toss-up. I think that's where the betting odds are, is pretty close to even. And there's so much, it's like hockey, there's so much that you can't predict with the bounce of a ball. And that just like we saw with the Argentina coming back in the final 5 minutes of play to score 2 goals and beat England 2-1, a couple of real quirky bounces, and one player being able to outjump. The winning goal was a long centering pass by Messi, the world famous 41-year-old Argentinian player who is now the highest scoring player in international play for his career. It was just a long lob type pass to the center. And the England player and the Argentinian player both jumped to try to hit it with their head. The England player tried to knock it out. The Argentinian player was able to jump about 2 inches higher and was able to deflect the ball into the net for the winning goal. It was just a miraculous goal. I'm sure part of it was great skill, but some of it's just luck. If you just time your jump a little differently, maybe it's all different, but we'll see. But it'll be an entertaining game, and I think it'll draw really massive ratings all over the world. And then the other story in golf, the 154th Open Championship, formerly the British Open, it teed off the second round this morning in England. Big news this morning is the Australian golfer Lucas Herbert is having a terrific second round. He's now 9 under par just for the second round, and he's only on the 17th hole right now. He's taken over the lead, 9 under par overall for the tournament. He has a three-stroke lead over the second place golfer, who is American Jackson Suber at 6 under par, and the top favorite Scotty Scheffler's got some work to do. He was 2 under par after the first round. He hasn't teed off yet. He tees off in about an hour, so we'll see where that goes with the Americans, but it's Lucas Herbert, Australian golfer, really having a terrific round. 9 under par. Those English golf courses, they're what they tend to call links courses. It's not one continuous fairway. You have a grassy area, then a sandy area, and then you have part of the fairway that's grassy, and then another sandy area, and then another partly grassy area, and then you get to the green with more sand. So you have to be able to, you can't just drive your ball as far as you want, or you'll end up in the sand half the time. So you have to be very skillful in being able to hit those fairway areas. It is a difference for the American golfers, because there aren't many of those kind of courses. In fact, I'm not sure there's any of those kind of links courses here in the U.S. There might be a few, but I think the British golfers are used to that. I don't know about Australian golfers. Australia is mostly sand anyway. Maybe they don't like that. Maybe they play those kind of courses, but it should be interesting to watch that as well. And of course, the Tour de France continues through the 26th of July. That's it for sports.
That's it for sports, boys and girls, as we continue with Breakfast with Roger and Friends. Well, when we last left you in hour number 2, we were into this day in history, And we had one more day, and that is July 19th, and the year is 1799. And what historical event took place?
In the United States?
No.
In Europe?
Yes. I guess that's where it was.
Is it in France?
No. I guess you'd say the Middle East is where it took place. Since we're talking about Egypt, would that be considered?
Well, Egypt is actually Africa, but it is considered the Middle East, I think. Yeah. It is Egypt we're talking about?
Yes.
1799. Okay, there was a discovery. King Tut's grave or something. No, that came much later.
that was
probably.
Maybe it happened in Greece.
Okay.
I'm trying to read the
Which would be
narrative
Eastern
here.
Europe.
Alexandria.
Well, there is an Alexandria in Egypt.
So I don't know where in the
I
hell
think
we're
that
talking
must be
about.
where you're talking about. That was
Okay.
Alexandria. I think was the. I think
Yeah,
there
yeah.
were some
It
pharaohs
was
that moved there.
Alexandria. Yeah.
They had quarters of Egypt at that time. Okay, so there was a discovery in Alexandria. Is that right?
Mhm.
Was it somebody's tomb?
No.
A pharaoh? Nothing like that?
No. Well, it was close to it.
The
You
Sphinx?
said nothing like that. Well, I don't know. What'd you say?
The Sphinx?
The Sphinx?
That's
The
up
Sphinx?
in...
No.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, that's
Is
up
that Giza or something?
northern Egypt.
Okay.
Well...
It's interesting because it was confusing to me because of so many different countries that they're talking about Greece, France, English.
They found an ancient city?
No. They found something, but it wasn't an ancient city.
Was it a construction of some kind? A building or a monument?
No.
Was it?
But you're getting close. You're just thinking too big. That's the trouble with you doctors. You think big. That has nothing to do.
What would the History Channel focus on? Because that's their calendar, and they usually have sort of a trend of what kind of news they look for on certain dates.
Was it a building, like a temple?
No, I told you, Terry.
Well, you said a city.
Big.
You said a
That's
city was
big.
too big.
Well,
Was it the
building is-
Rosetta Stone?
The what?
The Rosetta Stone.
Yes.
Okay.
Good group thinking. And what color was it?
It's black.
Yes.
It has the same text in multiple languages, which allowed scholars to translate the Egyptian
hieroglyphics.
How many?
4.
No, you're too high.
That's 3.
3. That is correct. And the stone contained fragments of passages
parts
written
were
in
broken
3
up.
different scripts. Name them.
Well, one was the Egyptian hieroglyphic.
That is correct.
Aramaic?
Sumerian?
No.
No.
Name a country.
Greek?
Yes.
Greek.
Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Egyptian what? D-E-M-O-T-I-C.
Demotic?
Or demonic.
I don't know.
The ancient Greek on the Rosetta Stone noted that the 3 scripts were of identical meaning. And it was eat at McDonald's. No, that wasn't right. The artifact thus held the key to translate hieroglyphics, and the language was eventually deciphered by an English scholar, Steve Young.
No.
No, Thomas Young. Yeah. And French scholar Jean-François Champollion.
I'll take your word for it.
And I'd heard of the Rosetta Stone, but I was thinking it was something like jewelry, not a slab of.
No, that was for years or centuries. People were mystified by the Egyptian hieroglyphics and had no idea because they're everywhere on all these monuments. Nobody knew what they were saying, and the Egyptians used like little birds and weird symbols, and nobody knew what those meant. And this was the key to translating all of that.
Mm-hmm. For both of you, and you both are brilliant people, was history your favorite subjects in school?
I was always interested.
Well, I don't mean it was all right. It wasn't your favorite.
It was not my favorite.
What was your favorite? Math, arithmetic?
No, actually, when I got into shorthand and office procedures and typing and stuff like that.
Typing and shorthand?
Typing and shorthand.
Okay. Well, I can see that, but that's almost like what was your favorite trade. But subject-wise, let's forget, because you use every subject to one extent, or do you, for that matter? I'm not sure. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to hear from a guy we haven't heard from in some time, and that's Steve Shaw, former videographer at Channel 25. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Doing great. Good to hear from you. You've been on vacation out of the country? Where have you been?
I can't hear your radio station anymore at my house, and I can barely hear it in my car.
You're kidding.
I'm out my car today.
They must be on lower power.
I'd get some acorns to feed the squirrel out there.
Get the squirrel or the guinea pig. And go. I have no idea, my friend. You're into that far better than I am. But anyway, good to hear from you.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that I'm in East Peoria. I was driving down, had my air conditioner on, driving down the road, and I smelled something. Like, what is that burning smell? And I got to where I could take a look, and it's like there's like a, I think the smoke from Canada has reached Peoria. It looks like it's getting a little hazy out there, and I think that's what I was smelling.
That's interesting because we heard from our weather guy, Kyle Varnold, in Michigan, and he says it's overwhelming where he is in Michigan. And I think, Dr. Sidler, did you say there are 350 Canadian wildfires?
850.
850. And they're all blowing our way from our Canadian friends. And you could smell it.
That was there's pictures online of the game last night between the Mets and the Phillies in Philadelphia, and the smoke is very obvious, the hazy skies and everything, and it's supposed to be affecting Chicago. The Cubs will play it tonight, I think, and so watch that game up in Chicago. And
that's the 7 o'clock start time.
Yeah, that'll be evident apparently even in Chicago, and so it's not too big of a stretch to think that it is probably starting to drift down here.
Yeah, and you could actually smell it inside your car, Steve.
I could smell it. Yeah, I hope it doesn't get as bad up there. Well, I've got a friend that works in Chicago, and she had a picture. He's like, it's awful. Yesterday afternoon was really bad, but I can't imagine it being any worse than that Cub-Cardinal game when the fog rolled in here a couple weeks ago. That was pretty bad.
That was really bad.
Yeah, you were watching that. Could you understand why the players on the Cardinal team were complaining they couldn't see, and the umpires had to be persuaded, hey, we can't see. Of course, they don't know the difference whether it's good or bad when it comes to balls and strikes, so they can't see anyway. But that's another story for another time. But that was a mess.
Well, you guys were talking about history. I think I'm going to try to go at least see a little history myself tomorrow, because I read that big train, the big boy, the big steam engine it's traveling across the country.
It's going to be in Gerard.
It's going to be in Bloomington tonight. But it's not going to be open to the public. It's going to stop overnight in Bloomington, and then it's going to go from Bloomington, and it's going to stop in Springfield. So I'm going to try to go down. I'm going to see what time it's going to be in Lincoln and see if I can catch it going through Lincoln.
That's news to me. Tell me about it. What's the story on this train?
It's one of the last steam engines that it's actually working. It's been converted over from coal to fuel oil, but it still uses steam to power itself, and it was used in the old days. I think it was built in the 30s or 40s to pull loads up over the Rocky Mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And it was they took it out, got it going, and they took it to Washington for the 4th of July. And then now they're taking it back to Wyoming, where its home base is.
Interesting. Yeah, how many cars is the engine pulling?
I don't know. I don't know how many. If it's pulling any, it may be pulling a few, but it's not like got a big load going.
Yeah, it looks like from some pictures I'm finding posted, it looks like there might be 10 or 15 cars behind it, but not, it's not a real long train.
But even so,
it's when it stops, you can go. They let you go inside the where the engineer sits. You can see. I guess it's just full of all sorts of levers and gauges and stuff because you got to keep that steam regulated. You don't want to blow yourself up.
Yeah.
They said that when it stops, it has to take on water. Well, we don't have the water tanks like we used to in the old days, so they have to make arrangements ahead of time for the fire departments to show up, and they fill it with fire hoses. If it's empty, it takes 3 hours for them to fill that thing up.
Really? That's fascinating. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yep, I've seen pictures of it and videos. It's went through here once. That's going back west. It's going to be in St. Louis on display for a couple days, and I think Kansas City for a couple days. So it's hitting the big cities, but it's only going to be in Springfield like for half an hour.
Yeah, my friend's husband went up to Shell to see it for the week.
Look how little the guy next to the train looks in that picture I'm showing Roger.
That is huge.
It's an enormous train. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the biggest engine ever built. I'm not sure if it is.
What time is it pulling into Bloomington tonight?
Well, it didn't say what. It's not on display tonight. You can't go. You can watch it go through town, but it doesn't say. I know it leaves tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning.
From Bloomington.
So I'm guessing. I don't know how fast it goes. I'm thinking it's going to take at least a half hour to get to.
Yeah.
Probably more. It probably doesn't go 60 miles an hour.
Picture you driving, as we all have done, between Bloomington and Springfield, maybe from Lincoln to Springfield, and you're on I-55, and you see this train, and you're going to say, what in the world is that? I think it would be absolutely fascinating.
I'm assuming that's taking the same Amtrak.
Yeah.
The Amtrak track.
I would think so.
Stop at the, yeah.
And did you say we're going to stay in Springfield for a while?
I think it's only there for like half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Then it takes off and it goes to, the next stop is Girard, which is south of Springfield.
Yes. Yeah.
Then the next stop is in that, and it stops for a while. I think for a day maybe it's St. Louis at Union Station.
So it's going to stop in Girard. I've been to Girard multiple times, and that's the only train rail service that's still viable and active. Fascinating. How long did you say it was going to be in Springfield? 3 hours to get more water?
I think, well, they'd have to get water every time. And they'd have to fill up every time. And it's just for a service stop. I don't know what to do with it, but it's only going to be there for like a half hour, 45 minutes, I believe, in Springfield.
Are you sure?
If you go at the Big Boy and look it up, and they have a schedule you can print out. It tells you like where all the stops are, how long it's going to be at these stops. And that's saying if something doesn't happen, if it doesn't get delayed along the way.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Are you sure it's taking on water? Are you sure it's not an electric train?
It is not.
It is not, okay.
It's not. It's fuel oil.
Yeah.
So, and steam powered.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. Steve, thanks so much for that information. I think are they calling
it
Big Boy? Is that what they're calling it?
Yes.
Big Boy.
Big Boy's the name of it.
Okay.
So.
Well, Big Boy is Steve Shaw. And thanks, Big Boy, for calling in.
Yeah. There's more.
All right. You guys take care.
You bet. Steve Shaw, one of the really neat guys. And we thank him for telling us about that. Would be something fascinating to see. All right, I believe our good friend Mr. Weather was trying to call in during the interview, so let's get into the hour. And our news this morning, as it is each and every morning among our sponsors. Of course, we're talking about Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Good time of the year to start looking for your next home, and she's available to help you in that search. She's been around helping people now for close to 10 years, and you can reach Kathy at 309-696-2162. Kathy Reynolds of Home Smart. Terry, what are the headlines we have today?
Former Peoria and Creve police officer Caitlin Durkin will remain behind bars pending a trial for allegedly murdering her roommate, 29-year-old Adolfo Cazares, on March 10th. The 28-year-old Durkin is accused of shooting to death Cazares in a house in the 500 block of Roosevelt Road in Shreveport.
Try that other microphone. There's something with your microphone that's not doing too well. Now here's Terry Chamberlain.
Okay, want me to repeat that whole story or just move on?
Sure. Start all over.
We heard you okay, but it was
Okay, then I'll
broken up.
go to the next story. A 41-year-old woman has been arrested after she stole an ambulance at Carl's Methodist Hospital. The vehicle was parked at the hospital's emergency area when Crystal Crane decided to take it for a spin. A drone was used to spot it parked in the 300 block of Wayne Street on the city's near north side. She took off again, but hit a parked car on St. Mark's Court, near where the once popular Ramada Inn was located. She was cuffed and taken to the county jail, charged with possession of a stolen vehicle. Peoria police have taken another accused drug dealer off the street with the arrest of 30-year-old Tavares Cage. Officers apprehended Cage after finding drugs and drug paraphernalia, along with guns and cash, in his house in the north side neighborhood of Rock Island and Camlin. He faces multiple charges, including endangering the life and death of a child. The life and health of a child. The child didn't die. The Blue Angels kicked off the Red, White, and Blue Air Show in Pensacola with a dramatic low flyover the popular Florida beach to the joy of sunbathers and those who love America. The Blue Angels are stationed at the naval base in Pensacola and are a great attraction for tourists. Some people complained, but Navy officials said there would be no reprimands or firings, nor should there be. President Donald Trump addressed the nation last night, providing an analysis of what he calls election vulnerabilities. Speaking from the White House, the president also accused China of massive data acquisition and election meddling. Trump also touched on the country's economic growth and success in stemming the influx of illegal immigrants entering the country. To support Trump's concern about election fraud and security, or the lack thereof, the Department of Homeland Security says they found at least 278,000 non-citizens illegally registered to vote, 191,000 of them in California. Other states uncovered with illegal voters were Nevada, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And the Department of Justice has announced the arrest of 35-year-old William Upham of Jacksonville, Florida, after he called for the death of President Trump. If found guilty, he could go to prison for 5 years. Upham is a Republican write-in candidate running for Congress from the state's 5th District. And those are the headlines, Roger.
And just in time, because we have Mr. Weather on the line, Kyle Varnold. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Roger and friends from Smoky Saugatuck, Michigan.
Hey, you know something interesting? One of the reasons we couldn't grab the phone because we had a caller on the line, and he was, and it's Steve Shaw, formerly with Channel 25, a long time ago. Yeah, and he said that he could smell in his vehicle the smoke that he thought was coming from the wildfires.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, where was he located? Where was he at?
I think he was crossing the bridge,
Yeah,
wasn't
he
he?
said
I think he said, yeah.
Oh.
Traveling locally, yes.
Oh, goodness. So he's local. Oh, so it's reached you guys. It's gotten down there then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's bad up here.
Okay, you want to talk about the weather?
Yeah, sorry, I thought Terry was saying something.
Not anymore.
I didn't want to interrupt.
Not
Okay,
anymore.
very good.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, yeah, so another hot day for you guys. We're looking at temps right in the low 90s, but with hardly any barely breeze and very lots of humidity and high dew points. You're looking at heat index about 103 to 104 today. The heat continues tomorrow. There might be a reprieve of scattered thunderstorms in the area today. I'm not really optimistic on your thunderstorm chances or your rain chances. They'll be widely scattered. They're diurnal, heat-driven thunderstorms. And just, I don't see it happening for the Peoria Metro. I'm sorry to say. Not that we haven't had our good share of rain the past couple months. So, yeah, other than that, just a couple more hot days, and then finally you get a reprieve. Cooler weather arrives tomorrow night. You'll see the wind shift. Smoke clears out. And you'll be in the mid-80s on Sunday, but much cooler, noticeably drier air on Sunday. And then Monday we get kind of creeping back up to 90, but then another cold front arrives overnight Monday night. Probably not much storms with that cold front. If anything, it'll be in Monday evening. Could be severe parameters. The timing of the frontal boundary looks like most of the bad stuff will be in Iowa as that front moves through in the overnight hours, Monday night into Tuesday. And then a really great week ahead, which my son is rejoicing for, because believe it or not, he starts football practice next week.
Oh, I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah, football's starting back up. So the weather back home this week would not be ideal, but next week it'll be much, much better weather situation. So just 2 more days of terrible throes of hell, and then you'll be back to more pleasant summertime conditions come next week.
You know, Kyle, interesting, when we talked earlier, I mentioned that humidity was 95, 96%. Interesting now, the National Weather Bureau is saying that the humidity has dropped to 85%. Can you really tell the difference between 85 and 95% humidity?
Probably not, but hydrometer is very specific, so it can tell. Okay. But we, as a human being, especially the heavier the person is, the actual higher the heat index is on that individual. So it pays off to be skinny in life, and I'm sorry for all the fatties out there.
Yeah. What's the weather like where you are in Michigan?
Well, it's very, very smoky. It's very hazy. It's 82 degrees, but believe it or not, the heat index here is 92 degrees. But as we get closer to the shore, we're heading down to South Haven right now. We'll be much closer to the lake. Hopefully we'll see the temperature drop and cool off quite substantially. Still smoky, be it Saugatuck, be it South Haven, be it all Southwest Michigan. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see driving home where the cutoff is, where the smoke clears out. But you're saying you're seeing the smoke now in Peoria.
Yes.
Steve said that.
That's what Steve said.
Yeah, that's what Steve said. And I don't think he's smoking in the car. I don't even know if he smokes for that matter.
He used to, but I don't think he does anymore. Go on.
Yeah, that just a question. Any violent weather anticipated anywhere? Usually with these really high temperatures, you start to see some violent changes when it gets moved out.
Yeah, that's a great question, Dr. Sidler. No, because the cold front, when it comes in Sunday, so overnight, tomorrow night, so Saturday night, we won't see any instability or thunderstorms associated with it. Now, Monday night, that cold front coming in, right now it looks like the majority of the energy is going to be placed over Iowa. So we're looking at severe weather in Iowa, Missouri. But maybe if the timing of the front's a little bit ahead of schedule, then we might see some severe weather Monday evening or some stronger thunderstorms Monday evening. But right now, I don't see any severe weather, at least for Peoria Metro. We are watching a system. I thought you were alluding to something we're watching in the tropics. Maybe a tropical storm developing there over the northern part of Florida. Jacksonville, Orlando. Yep. Yeah, you're familiar with that?
Well, I saw that one, and then there's one over the Cape Verde Islands that's just been labeled storm number 1 or something. I mean, it hasn't been given a name or anything, but it's just called Disturbance 1. Yeah. My other thought I was going to ask you if the people in Texas are going to get any relief from all the flooding they're having down there.
Yeah, so we're not looking at any relief anytime soon for the people in Texas, unfortunately. I did see that in the news when they weren't trying to defend Michigan this morning. But, yeah, they are seeing a very high concentration of rainfall, as we saw in southeast Missouri last weekend. Very heavy rains, training storms, lots of heavy rainfall, which leads to localized flooding, which is what we're seeing in Texas. And for as far...
All right, we're up to. Are you having a good time on vacation?
I think
we're having a great time. I mean, the 4-year-old goes through mood swings, but other than that, people are happy and.
That's good.
Yeah,
Are you talking about him or you?
No, I'm talking about her. I'm talking about her.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. No, she's fine. No, she's good right now. She's listening to Frozen soundtrack. So if you hear Let It Go in the background, you'll know exactly what state of mind we're in. So, yeah, and then my son, my 13-year-old, he's been on his phone the whole short drive. So, yeah.
That sounds good. Well, God bless you. Be safe. And bring
No,
back
thank you
some
so
cooler temperatures. And thanks for thinking about us about the blueberries.
Yeah. So I have the correction because a listener did call in. It doesn't start with brown. It's Bowerman's. Bowerman's blueberries. BOWERMAN''S. Someone from the family must have heard because they messaged me and said, hey, we heard on the Roger and Friends breakfast show on YouTube, you said Brownman's Farm or Brownberry Farm. There's no brown to it. Bowerman's blueberries.
How are you spelling it?
Bowerman. BOWERMAN''S.
Okay.
And if they could ship their vodka and wine, please order some. It is absolutely delicious, as are the blueberry pies. I don't think they ship as well.
You know, one thing that I found on a previous trip to where you are in Michigan is because we stopped at a blueberry farm, and the blueberries are much larger than the ones you get at Walmart, as an example, which are kind of little tiny fellas.
They are huge. They are delicious. They are so just colorful. It truly is amazing. If you can get blueberries directly from Michigan, I highly recommend it. They are absolutely wonderful. I know the Farm Bureau used to do it in late July. I don't know if they do it anymore. And then up north of us is where the cherries are, up near Traverse City.
Oh, yes.
And the Sleeping Bear Dunes. Yeah.
That's another level.
Online store.
Yes, we went to a farmer's market, I think it was Wednesday morning, and just the produce and the fruits are just unbelievable, delicious and wonderful, and so many cheeses and
finding the vodka.
Gene is trying to find the blueberry vodka.
Yeah, I'm looking for the vodka, but their website doesn't show the vodka, at least I found so far.
Oh, it's delicious, yeah.
Well,
so the donuts are really good. Pie is wonderful. The wine is really popular. But the vodka is something they started new this year. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, sure. I had a blackberry the other day at Kroger's, and it was huge, and it was absolutely delicious, and it verifies size does mean something when it comes to blackberries. It was absolutely delicious.
100%. You pay for what you get.
Yeah.
And this time of year,
you're right. Amen to that.
The produce is amazing. And be sure to support your local farmers markets, too. They don't have the Michigan produce, but it's so good.
No, you're right. All right. Be careful out there. Drive careful, and we will see you when you get back.
Yeah. We'll talk Monday morning. Have a great weekend. I'm really sorry about the hot weather and all my friends heading down to Pride Festival on the riverfront tomorrow. The hot, sweaty atmosphere that it will be. But we got relief on Sunday. Praise the Lord.
You got it. Thanks, Kyle. God bless.
Thanks so much. Bye, guys.
Bye. Kyle Varnold, Mr. Weather. And right now we have 81 degrees. And it's time for our pet tip of the day.
Today's pet tip is brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets large and small 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Pet lovers are dedicated to their animals, all species from horses to turtles and of course cats and dogs. If you are a pet lover, learn these little known, somewhat amazing facts about your pet. I like to think that I'm helping fellow dog and cat owners find the best solutions for keeping their pets healthy and happy. One of the many ways we can do that is by weight management. If we or our pets keep the extra pounds off, we lessen the risk of many expensive health problems. Just like with humans, that means exercise and not eating more than we burn. The form of exercise should take into consideration the behavior of our pets, which is linked to their genetics. Hunting breeds will like retrieving games like fetching and hiking. Beagles and dachshunds get excited about food stuffed into a Kong toy that they have to work to get at. They also like to chase things. Herding breeds might like flying discs or agility courses, while toy breeds like squeaky toys, learning tricks, and playing games. Of course, all dogs like to walk with us. Now, cats love a paper bag, cardboard tube, toy mice tied to a string that you can dangle, or chasing a beam of a pen light. It's fun to play with cats, but dogs make the best workout partners. So remember, if your dog is overweight, it is likely that you are too. Form a team and get moving. It's good for everyone. This whisker of information has been made possible by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in partnership with Spot, Saving Pets One at a Time, and KSBR Studios. Produced by Joseph C. McGuire and theme music by Stuardo Glasser.
Today's Pet Tip has been brought to you by Peoria Pet Crematory of Peoria and Lewiston, providing final care for family pets, large and small, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their phone number is 713-1898. That's 713-1898. More information is available at peoriapetcrematory.com.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Louis Linder. Breaking news, Andy Burnham. That's a popular name, John Burnham. A good friend of mine, was my best man when I got married. And I believe Kathy Reynolds' maiden name is Burnham. Andy Burnham expected to become the next Prime Minister of the UK. I don't know whether that's good news, bad news, or no news, or who cares category for that matter.
Labour Party.
Yes, that is correct.
Just since July of 2026, which means like yesterday, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. I want you, in the closing minutes we have, to just remind everybody, because we have high temperatures, high humidity, though interesting, the last time I checked, the temperature was at 82 degrees, with humidity dropping another degree to 84%. But as Kyle said, to the average person, and I'm about as average as you can get, you can't tell the difference between 84% and 94%. So we do know the humidity's high. But what are the best fluids and the best advice when we have heat index of 103, 105, and temperatures in the lower to mid 90s? Tell us.
Well,
that,
if you're outdoors or just getting overheated even indoors, you can obviously get overheated even in shaded areas and indoors if you don't have air conditioning. You need to replenish the fluids that your body is losing, and the body does lose by way of perspiration. That's the body's way of trying to cool itself, and so you don't always recognize how much you may be losing. It doesn't always appear as sweat dripping off of you, especially if you're in the sun and when the humidity isn't quite so high, the sweat can evaporate quickly and you may not realize it. So you do have to rehydrate, and water is always probably the best option, just simply because it's the most easily available to everybody at any given time. If you're sweating profusely, like people that have to work outdoors, or NBA players that stand there and you can see the sweat dropping off of them, then you might think of rehydrating with one of those energy drinks that is balanced with extra electrolytes.
Like Gatorade.
Yeah, like Gatorade. And you've got also some Powerade over. That's also a Gatorade product. But
oh, really?
Yeah, it's made by Gatorade, but it's just a different brand of theirs.
I know it's got more salt in it than the regular Gatorade.
That might be the difference. I know that it has some differences, but there's a host of them now.
They're all
energy
over the map,
drink or the
aren't they?
athletic drinks, the aisle at Kroger is like half the aisle, and so there's so many different brands now. But those may be a little bit better if you're sweating profusely and exercising outdoors or playing in a sport or something like that. But for the ordinary person that's just outdoors a lot, or just sweating a lot, you could probably just do fine by replenishing with water or really anything. I've always encouraged people to just get whatever is available to you and easy to get, even if it's things like soda, fruit juice, and things like that. Mostly water, and so that serves the purpose. And
how about
try to keep cool? Yeah, I mean, that's the key.
how about a cold beer? Is that really what even though it's ice cold and it tastes good? I'm not a beer drinker, but as I mentioned when I worked at Pabst, I couldn't wait to go over and try a club size bottle of Pabst beer because it was ice cold.
Well,
but
I did hear you and Kevin Sullivan talking about downing those ice cold beers on hot days like this, and I'm not a beer drinker either. I can't even envision myself drinking a beer because I just don't.
Even
like
though
it
was ice cold.
Yeah, I just don't like beer at all. No.
Okay. Well, I'm not a beer drinker either, frankly speaking.
But yeah, and a lot of people do drink beer. I go to ball games a lot, Roger, and so you see people
drinking beer at the ballpark.
The last ball game I went to, the people just to the left of us in the aisle must have had like 7 or 8 beers in the course of a 9-inning game, and I'm wondering how come they never once got up to go to the bathroom. I mean,
well, maybe they already
they
did.
are sweating a lot.
They just didn't get up.
But they were probably well conditioned to metabolize the alcohol better than I would have been. But yeah, even something like that is capable of preventing you from getting too dehydrated. And getting dehydrated, again, a lot of people don't even realize when it happens because it can happen slowly. It can start to affect your mental processes. You may not be thinking quite so straight. And so that's how people get into trouble with the dehydration, the overheating, and the heat exhaustion that can lead into much more serious problems. Fortunately, so far we haven't heard any news about any people dying, deaths related to the heat. But every summer there are. I mean, heat kills more people than just about any other kind of weather condition because of the number of people who live in housing that maybe doesn't have air conditioning, and they may be infirm and unhealthy in some ways. They can't get out. That can be very dangerous. So
well,
keep
the
an eye
bottom
on
line, if you don't have to be outside, don't be outside, particularly if you're older American. And if you know someone in the neighborhood who's long in tooth, older and living alone, check up on them to make sure
older
they're
relatives,
okay.
just check them once in a while, make sure their air conditioner's working, and if they don't have air conditioning, that they've got plenty of fluids and that they're doing okay, and that their fan's working, and that their electricity doesn't go out, because that can be a real danger.
Yeah, you bet. Well, everybody, thanks for being a part of our program today. God bless you, and have a great weekend. Be careful out there. Take care of yourself. And remember, God loves you, and so do we. Have a great weekend, and the good Lord willing, we'll see you come Monday morning. So long, everybody.
Grainger's got your safety needs covered, literally. Shop Grainger's vast inventory of safety products.
Are you one of the many people who thinks their bad cholesterol is low enough? It may be too high. If your bad cholesterol remains high, it may lead to an increased risk of heart attack or stroke. Ask your doctor if your bad cholesterol is low enough. Visit badcholesterol.com to learn more.
I was a stranger in the city. Out of town were the people I knew. I had that feeling of self-pity.